didn't do what you asked of me. You gave me nothing in return. Then I waited. I waited. Do not mistake this for punishment. Do not mistake this. This is a evil betrayal. Do not mistake this. This is a evil betrayal. Now look around you. You call on me again. Never forget the past.
Doesn't always give us what we deserve, it gives us what we need.
As our resistance wanes and dies, legends remain.
We are the kings, the sentinels of the future.
Many who claim they've lived their lives in beauty.
What does it mean to be good or be evil?
And at the crossroads, be who they want you to be, or be who are born to be.
Legendary rangers, steel, cells.
Everything comes at a cost.
Don't forget the river.
Hello! Welcome to the Kingmakers Roundtable. Where's Dan?
He's lighting
His cat
incense.
pooped.
His cat, yeah. His cat
Seconds
pooped.
before this.
Yeah, that's all right. I looked up
Dan?
and then you were gone.
Well, we got the cat's review.
Welcome to the Kingmakers Roundtable. What we're gonna do today is, I don't think we usually have a bot that you can submit questions to, but we're not gonna do that today because I don't think it's working right now. But what you can do is pop your question in the chat, but at me, Pumpkinberry, so that I see it and grab it and set it aside. We're gonna try to answer as many questions as we can today. Obviously we'll do our best. We're not gonna get every question, but we will try. But we're gonna start with, did you guys decide which question we were starting with?
I think Miranda's was good.
Yeah, Miranda's was really good.
Okay.
Merg, you want to do that?
Sure. Okay.
Sorry, yes, please, Miranda, go ahead.
My question.
Oh, wait, Mergs.
Yeah.
Can you raise your gain, or?
Oh yeah, why?
Because I can barely hear you.
You're very quiet, yeah.
So are
Hello.
you?
Can you hear me now?
Hold on.
Jack is always quiet.
Oh, I'm quiet? Bring them closer.
See, for me, everybody's fucking quiet, and I don't know what's going on.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Sorry. I saw it on the fucking meter.
Is everything okay?
How about now, Mergs? Why don't you say
Is
something?
this okay?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Is
Much
this
better.
okay? Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. My question to the whole cast was, did you learn something from playing your characters, and what was it?
Yes.
So, yeah, let's go. Can you guys see the screen? Let's start with
Yeah.
Faye.
Yes.
This is so.
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, no. Is that
clockwise.
okay? I was going to
Yeah, no,
say
that's
every
fine.
question we rotate because that's the show,
Thank you.
right?
Oh.
Clockwise,
Oh,
counterclockwise.
I
But that's
like
way
that.
too much fucking pressure. So just Faye, and then we'll go around clockwise.
Yeah. I think in terms of like Estrella, I learned a lot about utilizing trauma as kind of like a tool. If that makes any sense, and utilizing it in order to transform it into something positive, like a strength, whether that be mental, whether that be physical, anything of that sort.
Man, that's rad.
Have you done that? Since the
I'm
show
working on
began?
it, man.
Oh, okay.
We're all work in progress.
No, share a really personal moment in the last year or so in which you've done that with us. I'm kidding.
What are you, my therapist, Bradley?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Uh-oh,
fuck.
Brad doesn't feel well, so look out. Today is going to be a
Yeah,
time.
I've got no. There's no. No, I could say anything.
Oh, boy.
ticking time bomb.
Just be ready to just whenever, you know.
Just get ready to meet him. So Drac, you're up.
Me. Hi. What did I learn? I learned that I'm better at role playing than I originally thought I was. I think. I got
Episode
pushed
1 Drac.
way more in this show than I've ever been before. I will always go to the first episode, finding out I was going to be on the front page, cold opening, seeing my loved ones be murdered in front of me. And I was very nervous. I didn't think I could do it, and I did.
You
and
did.
I kind of immediately was hooked.
That
on
cold
the
open
engine.
was cold as well, dude. That was.
Yeah.
Smashed it.
So I think
We
that's
almost had our favorite moment be the question to open with, and that was going to be mine, by the way.
Yeah.
Fuck
It
you,
was
that
also
was
gonna
gonna
be mine.
Really?
really.
Yeah. It was just so good and so unexpected, and nobody really knew you or anything either, or at least I didn't. I didn't know what to expect or anything. Not like everyone's being judged or anything, but it's like sometimes someone does something amazing, and you're like, whoa. And then you immediately have to. Then you have to be like, oh fuck, here we go. I have to raise my game. Great.
I mean, I would
10 out of 10 would
some
sob
of that
uncontrollably with you again.
Oh, I would love that. That hyperventilating, I'll be honest, not only it was acting, I was just really anxious and nervous as well. Some of it was just real nerves. It's like, I'm on the front page, oh, fuck. But yeah, I think that's what the biggest thing I learned. And also learned that I enjoy playing the angry character, I guess. I enjoyed, once I had the rage kind of thing planted in Resroth, I was like, I kind of enjoy just going berserk sometimes. It's kind of fun. So maybe that says something about me outside of game, I don't know. But yeah, I think those are the things I kind of learned from this.
Yeah, I think you and Faye definitely set the stage for the entire, the mood for the entire show going forward.
Yeah.
I think, no pressure now that it's happened, but I mean, I think there was a lot riding on that first scene and how the rest of the mood and the feel of the show would go from there, because it's all yes and, right? So it's all following on from one thing to another. And I think, yeah, you and Faye just destroyed it in the best possible way.
Fist bump.
I'm not good at taking compliments. I forgot.
It wasn't a compliment. It was motivation. Okay.
This whole group is this way. Forget it. I'm gonna say something. I knew you could do it. I knew you. I role played with you, and I was like, I had a moment where I feel like I knew when we all met together, and we were doing our character creation and stuff like that you were really nervous. And I thought to myself, well, the only way I know of to really kind of get rid of that is to literally just shove you in the deep end and go, all right, let's go. You're on the front page, by the way, and you're starting.
Yeah. You guy, open up the fucking show for me.
Yeah.
That is how I started streaming. I had extreme stage fright and social anxiety, and I was like, I fucking hate this. So I'm gonna start streaming and just be in front of people and do it. So I guess you could tell, and it worked.
It did.
Incredible.
Good stuff. All right, Johnny, you're up.
What did I learn from playing Titus? I learned I could probably use about 50% less breath play in my role play. I learned I really liked playing a tortured character. I would find myself all the time, far too frequently, wanting to record screams or grotesque torture sounds and send them to PB, and I'd be like, hey, if you want these, you could just use them wherever. If you just want me screaming in my shack in the woods, that'd be cool. On an actual serious note, I think that a big thing I learned from playing Titus was nobody is ever going to understand you as well as you understand yourself. And I think it gave me a little more insight into who I am as a person and just who I kind of want to be or continue to strive to be. Because, the big theme of Titus was never feeling understood. And I realized that it was a cool lesson to learn. I also learned spiders aren't that scary, and spiders are super cool and have so many cool features that I didn't know about before the show. And I'm no longer arachnophobe. So pumped about that.
Amazing.
Brad, you're up.
Oh yeah. What did I learn? I learned you know that show we watched, PB, Miranda, and maybe other people have seen it, *Halt and Catch Fire*, when
Yes.
and that guy in it.
What do you mean,
I want to say his
that
name is
guy in
Joe.
it?
What's the
Joe,
what's the yeah? I
Joe
can't remember his
McMillan
name
or
in there.
Gordon Clark. I fucking
Yeah.
love that show so much.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, I feel like Arifir was Joe in this
Yeah, a little
because
bit.
he's caught between being the best at his like craft, like he wants to be the best mage ever, and he's told that he is naturally gifted and should be, and he's caught between that and just living a normal life, and just, you know, having a husband and, you know, having some kids and not having to be the best, you know, just being whatever that is. Doesn't have to be anything. And I think I remember when I made the character, I was thinking about how he would potentially be jealous at the others because they were brought up with each other and they all had friends and they were all brought up in the town, and Erifir was whisked off to a tower, and that would make him the two things that came to mind was like, well, he would want attention, he'd want to be the best at something, he'd want validation, you know, he'd want to be like, every time he's brought to town, he's like, look at me, look what I can do, I'm special. And also he would covet just that downtime, just sitting and hanging out with friends, or you know, drinking a cup of tea with whoever it was, you know, until eventually obviously it became Razroth. And so yeah, I was fascinated with that, and I think a lot of us, probably everyone, has that same feeling. Sometimes that work-life balance, where you're like, I haven't spent enough time doing this, or, you know, that, the other. I went through a horrific breakup during this, and I was like, oh, I wonder if it was because I was working too hard, or maybe I didn't work hard enough. And so I thought about that a lot during this. And the hilarious thing is I got no answer from it. So really, I don't know if I learned anything, because Erifir got to become the best at his thing. He becomes a post-human god creature, and also becomes, gets to spend his last few days with Razroth and just being a normal human with no special abilities, and just gets to hold his boyfriend's hand and hang out, and then that's it. But I don't know if it's a lesson or anything, but it was something that I found myself thinking about and mulling over a lot. And I don't think that there is an answer for it. I think that's the answer. I don't know if there is a balance. I think it's a thing that you just struggle with forever, and you probably have to come up with your own answer, or find or discover your own balance. But that was something that I think I was trying to think about and bring to the character every week, and I don't know. I have no end to that, so that's the end of my sentence.
Wonderful.
I have COVID.
Argles.
Hello. Yeah, when I made Jude, I kind of like set out on this challenge to kind of like, I wanted to challenge myself to experience a level of like stoicism and emotional control and distance from the things that are happening, and discipline, because I struggle with all of those things a lot. And I kind of wanted to put all of that into her and see if I could find a way to access that stuff within me. And in some ways I did. Like, I think I learned that discipline, while my whole life I kind of viewed it as this like really negative thing that was enforced upon me from other sources or authorities or something like that. I actually kind of learned that discipline is kind of like a form of self-love for me, and that the idea of like leading a disciplined, routined, life is kind of a very supportive thing to do for yourself. So that was very cool.
Because
but I also learned,
Sorry to interrupt you, but
no,
this is a really nice thought that you've hit on here. Discipline isn't necessarily negative. It's not punishment. It's not restriction.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
other things, or it can be other things. And I think a lot of people assume that it is, restrictive or punishment, or there's that negative connotation there. And discipline in the way where it's a gift for those of us who especially grew up in a chaotic environment. All it is just safety, right? It's just here's your safe routine that you can rely on.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 and feel safe in. Yeah.
Yeah, I really learned that playing Jude, because Jude was that regimented kind of, and getting into her mind in the way that she thought of those things. It wasn't coming from a place of control or punishment. And I think that that's kind of something that really changed my perspective on it.
For her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And strength, but also just like, I don't know, a level of inner strength that I aspire to. And the other thing that I learned that I think was really important was I endeavored to play a very stoic sort of like Knight's Code character who had a difficult time expressing emotion or anything like that. But eventually, through playing the character on the show, I realized that really the only thing that we have to communicate with each other is emotion. And at some point, I had to decide whether to let go of the idea of that distance and that coldness in order to actually communicate with everyone and to really make an impact and to share. And I feel like that was really a powerful lesson as well for someone who really tries to, tries to keep everything on lock but can't. Realizing that was a really beautiful thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's me.
Maya?
What have I learned from Kingmakers? I think
from your character specifically, I think, right?
Right. From my character specifically and not from the show itself. I guess.
I mean, either, whichever you want to answer, but I think it was, did you learn from your character originally?
No.
Oh.
Next.
Oh, nothing.
I think narratively, through Lear, I learned about how to trust. RP is a lot of yes and it's a lot of, going back and forth and creating a story with people. But I think that because of the nature of Lear and the fact that, he has Jude and he has Vega and together they're kind of like one unit, you kind of had to think of him less as an independent person. At least for Lear himself, being this royal who's been coddled, who has these people to be his crutches. It was an interesting kind of thought process to try and make Lear dependent on these people while at the same time not making him too much of a wet blanket, There was an interesting balance there at play, I think. And, it made me appreciate my fellow role players more just because of how I'd have to, go about that sometimes, I think all in all, just thinking outside the box in general, being able to think up reasons for specific things on an emotional level as well was very important, and definitely something that I learned more with Lear, because most other characters that I play, they don't have this sort of intrinsic bond with other characters, at least not from the outset, and so having to think about other people that way is kind of something that for me, it also allowed me to think about that in my everyday life and how maybe perhaps I affect other people and they affect me. So I think it was kind of this recursive thing that I was just learning more and more as I went on with this, which is, cool as a thought process and exercise. Otherwise, nothing.
Perfect. Thank you. Thea Bean?
What did I learn from Vega? I think Vega went on a really big journey throughout the whole series. She was a very, I designed her to be a very peppy character that was supposed to be able to help bring in energy if it needed it. But obviously the story was quite dark from the outset, so it did make it difficult sometimes to be that character that was just no, guys, it's gonna be fine, don't worry about it. But she went on a really, really big journey, and she ended up being very different in the end to how she started out. And I think it there was a weird thing that happened where, out of character, you were aware of, the fact that there's a cast here of like 7, 8, 9, like how many other people in every single show, and you want to give everyone space to just have their own RP and convey what they need to convey. And I think there was just a point where I realized that it's okay. It is enough to just exist. It is enough to just not have to feel like you have to drive something or like be more than your character is, and to just let your character to just stop and breathe. And it's something I learned too late, actually, because I did feel the pressure throughout the show to like towards the end, after like Vega became like the apprentice, to take that role of Erifir and continue being the person who could guide everyone and would know the answers. And I try to play into that a little bit with like Vega, like, I don't know the answers, and I don't know what I'm doing either. And then that sort of allowed me to look back and see like everyone else needs to have that opportunity to do something with whatever they would like to do with their character as well. And I don't know, patience. She taught me a bit about patience, which is funny, because the character was not designed to be a patient character. But yeah, that's it. I'm tired and sick.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like it's cheating to ask Dan and Aaron, but it's open if either of you want to answer the question.
Dan, would you like to? I do have an answer, but Dan, would you like to go
go for it first? You're ready. Go do it.
Okay. I learned I can answer any existential question thrown at me within seconds.
I learned that about you too. I was very impressed.
Johnny, what's the difference between fate and destiny? The spelling. I was like, okay, sure. I think that, and I do appreciate that. I think that what I learned is sometimes trying to play a confident character can give you a lot of confidence, because I knew that this person was supposed to be this person, so I couldn't come in ho-humming. I mean, I did a lot of, ridiculous things to try and not answer, but trying to do that, and it also matter, and dropping little things and trying to be this weird sort of existential weird guy was really difficult. And being able to come in and go, I have no choice. You have no choice. You have to portray someone that just knows so much and knows when not to say anything. Along with that, my favorite thing that you guys did, you're like, tell me straight. And I was like, shit. Okay. Sure, I'll tell you straight now. I had no choice. But yeah, I think that going in with the mindset of playing a character the way you hope to play them, that matters so much. And I don't think I ever realized that. Playing, Drac, you were talking about, so I do have social anxiety disorder. I started streaming fucking years ago because of that, to try and work through that sort of stuff. And it's sort of that thing where you just hit the button and then you go. I don't think I ever realized how much tabletop is that. That button goes and then you go. You have to be that character. Yeah, you'll find the stuff along the way, but you have to be that. I just never realized it until now, how much that matters. And that's it.
Thank you. Okay, so everybody went around and answered that, right? Everybody had a chance to. Yes. Okay. Awesome.
Except for you.
Dan. Jeez, sorry, Dan. Fucking punch me.
I refuse. No, I had something. It was really short because I was here very shortly. But I learned that no one will ever trust any character I play.
Yep.
No matter what. It is just doesn't matter what show. I will not be trusted, despite
That's not true.
potential.
Ray was trusted. Right?
Yeah, I mean that was a one shot, and then he died. So
Ray's okay.
Ray's okay. Ray's okay.
What? He's okay, right?
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. But no, more seriously, it's a little bit kind of like what Aaron was talking about. Just a bit like I had to go in trusting that my character from 2 shows ago would fit into the vibe, as he was made as a comedy character for a one-off within a show. And so I'm like, this show is ridiculously serious. It's dark. Like, I've been in that kind of thing, but I'm coming in as someone who's not serious. Like, serious, but deflects with humor. And is that going to fit at all? Or am I just going to be kind of really out of place? And I had to just trust, like, okay, PB wanted me in here for a specific reason for this character to kind of do info dumping. But I don't know. I was able to walk away going, okay, no, I can trust myself more as a role player. I've got experience. I don't need to worry as much as I was doing, because I was nervous. It was coming in near the very end of a show and having to be the person like Aaron to just be like, here's info, but also in character and make it work. So yeah, that was me.
I wanted you to come and play Tim. I had always hoped, and we talked about this, Dan, with KPP, but our schedules never really aligned. I wanted to do 6-episode short series with Tim and Andrea, which was KPP's character, and I wanted that to happen before this for reasons, right, to tie everything in together. But because I didn't get to do that, I went, oh, you know what, I'll have him come in now. It won't be quite the same, but yeah, we were trying to get KPP, but her work schedule did not allow her to arrive for a 4 p.m. show. But otherwise, she would have been here for a couple of episodes too, which would have been neat. Neat callback to that. But anyway, okay. So what I'm gonna do now, otherwise this will take 9 years for everybody to go around. I'm gonna throw out a question. If you guys have an answer to it, just jump in. And answer the question. If not, I'll move on to the next question. Okay, the first one is for all of the cast. Are you happy with your character? This question was asked a couple of different times in different ways, so I'm just bundling it all together. Are you happy with their character, or is there anything that you wish you could go back and play out differently? Or is there anything that happened to your character that you would change? And how do you think it would have affected the game?
I'm super curious. I'm jumping in. I have since it happened been so curious about what Jude without a soul would have been like, because I knew instantly that Jude knew that she could live without a soul, and because she was just very utilitarian about it, she didn't think of it as that deep, I guess. So yeah, I always think about what would Jude without a soul be like. Yeah. Anyway. It's fucking awesome.
Oh. Okay, I think I mentioned this before. One thing I would have changed if I understood the system, because I was kind of understanding and learning the system as I went along, and I was like, I never played with PB as a GM, so I was like, how far can I push what I can do? I really hit my stride with Red Razroth when I was like, okay, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
If I'd known that earlier, I would have built my Razroth as just that. That would have been his whole build. It would have been great. I'd have loved it. Not that the Razroth I played was bad, but I always enjoyed I like teleporting. I think the idea of teleporting in a fight is ridiculously overpowered and kind of underrated when it comes to quote unquote superpowers or powers people have for fights, and I just really found that fun. So I think that's one of the things I would have changed if I could. And I think the other thing I would have changed, honestly, I think I would have liked to have had Razroth accept the name Sun Eater as his code name instead of Soulbinder. I think would have been an interesting thing narratively to accept that, especially with the kind of almost devilish form he takes sometimes when he gets angry. I thought it would have been a pretty interesting little way to reclaim that. So I guess those are the two things that kind of stand out at the top of my head.
Also really like that, because if you think about the fact that you almost killed Jude twice and she gets turned into the sun, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Oh god, that'd have been good. Yeah.
I think, speaking of Red Raz, perhaps maybe I would have liked to have played more with Lear's greatsword. You know, like the fact that he had a couple souls in there. I think that maybe perhaps, you know, like if the show was longer, like he would have been. I would have perhaps, you know, maybe perhaps used it as some sort of prison. I don't know, or like, you know, again, soul oriented, just kind of work around that. I think also, as far as Lear goes, initially, when I had Lear planned, there was always supposed to be like this character dependent on, you know, these two wards to kind of keep him on the straight and narrow. And a lot of that was, for the most part, just kind of like internal. I'm acting the result of this thing happening. But like without Jude, without Vega, Lear was supposed to kind of be by default kind of like a Joffrey, Baratheon Lannister kind of deal. You know, that's kind of where he is, because how could you not be in that kind of situation when, you know, like you have all of this around you, and it's only through tempering through Jude and Vega. And I think I regret not letting some of that slip. But it's one of those things where, as an actor, I think that I was just a bit limited to try and, you know, like get in there and get out, and like, you know, it requires a bit more collaboration, I guess, on my behalf, and trust. But yeah, maybe perhaps making him more seemingly evil. I don't know. I've recently got a taste for bad guys, and I was wondering whether or not Lear could be a good bad guy, you know? But, you know, anyway. Also, yeah, that's about it, really. Other than that, you know, like, Lear was a very, you know, like, like Brad's Rose said, we had quite a few, you know, like, couples and stuff in here. I was playing with the idea, like, just when the question came up, wouldn't it have been interesting if Lear threw a spanner in the works somewhere? I don't know where exactly. I don't really think about this stuff very often, but it would have been kind of funny, at least for me, to like be a third wheel or something, you know, and either a third wheel or like some sort of thing, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, get in there, get out there. I don't know, man. Anyway, that's me. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
Like this whole time we find out that Lear's been bullying a roof here because Lear has a crush on the roof.
Love triangle.
Runs in the family.
Why don't you kiss me, mage? Show me what that staff can really do.
Enemies to lovers.
Oh.
I kind of had the same thought as Drac did, but not exactly. I think a large part of my character in this campaign was failing rolls, which I think led to a lot of great roleplay. So, but like, I had skills that I used one time through the whole campaign, and I don't regret it per se, because it shaped the character in a lot of the story, so I was very content with it. But I think if I'd go back and knew, hey, you're going to use magic a lot, I might have just magic dumped. But either way, it's not really a regret, just something that I thought about. Something else that I thought about from a narrative perspective is I wish I would have leaned into Titus's resentment for becoming a ward, and I did this kind of intentionally to mirror Vega, Jude, and Lear, because when you look at the two groups, they're kind of very opposite. That group always had their shit together. They had battle formations. They were organized. They were soldiers, and our group was kind of like the dysfunctional Brady Bunch on the other side of the world. And I think that something really cool about what's being a ward is, sure, it looks really awesome to have a shiny sword and a magnificent suit of armor, but getting taken away from your family at a young age to become a ward is a very traumatic and drastic thing. And I think something that I wish I would have leaned into more is how Titus misses his family, his home, and living a normal life. You know, I think it's a cool thought to hunker down on, but that's me.
Yeah, that's it's so interesting that you say that, because now reflecting on this group entirely, you've got the resentment for Raz from the entire population. You know, you have your resentment, you know, and then we've got Estrella, who's also very resentful for in a couple of different ways towards Titus, for one, at least for a little while. and then also internal struggle there too. So that's interesting. I hadn't clocked that before. Oh yeah,
Our
that's
whole
good.
side was very emotional.
Yeah.
Overall, I would say.
Yeah.
Structure
Which is
versus
honestly kind of
emotion.
interesting for me, because I didn't think Razorf would be emotional, but then I guess I kind of set the standard for myself as well in that first episode, because I was like, oh, he's like breaking down. I guess he's just like who he is, and it kind of like pivoted the idea I had of Razorf at the beginning, and seeing everyone else, the wards, kind of mirror that as well. I don't know, it felt right, and I thought it was kind of fun seeing how opposite the two groups were in that regard.
Unless that was Razros's like breaking moment, or maybe just the whole group's breaking moment. Like up until that point, maybe they were a lot more structured, but our side, because Eru was on that side, even though he wasn't one of the wards, that were like being more emotional. We were immediately hit by trauma train.
Yeah.
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 So,
And that was
like,
the
maybe
bond at that
was
point.
it.
Yeah.
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 So so this isn't necessarily a regret or like a more of a missed opportunity, because it was something that was in the back of my mind when I guess we learned about death magic and we were thinking about how to utilize it, and I hadn't yet decided that like Lear was going to be this character that just, for the most part manipulated light. That was kind of like his theme towards the end. But like when it was all about death magic, I wanted to bring his one of his skills, Jude Star Pupil, into the mix of it, but because I had, held fast to the fact that he is supposed to be this support unit, this healer, this guy on the back bench, I never got to use this move where basically like, I think when we were talking about training, I would talk about how Lear was basically going through like, sword patterns and sword kata, that kind of stuff, in the evenings or whatever. I think in that one Emmeline episode, he's training, and I think I kind of like didn't put enough effort into like saying, okay, now I'm training at this specific time, because essentially there was a move that I wanted Lear to do if he was more of like a melee character, where like every single time Lear practices and trains, he is storing, I guess, the kinetic potential of the swing, so that if he was to hit something, even if he swung really hard during training, he wouldn't have damaged something, so that like, during a fight, he would then tap into that and he swings once and then like 200 attacks come from anywhere.
Yeah. I had
and
thought
that
of
was
just
just-
like giving
yeah.
you double damage for a while, of just like seeing, figuring out a way to say, okay, you're storing this much with your training on a daily, and so now you just do double damage for this many attacks, or however the case may be, until you re-spool it, or recollect that. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, PB and I played with the idea of like when he was like training or whatever, he'd like swing and then swing at nothing, but like you might hear an audible like collision, and clang, and then
Cool.
we'd like borrow from that in the future and say that one time where the sword dented when he swung into midair was that attack. But I stayed in the back too much, I think, with Lear to be able to utilize any of that.
Yeah.
So a bit of a regret, I guess, but just more of like a cool, wouldn't it be cool if Lear was cool doing this cool thing kind of thing. Yeah.
I have an answer for this too. Something I probably would have done differently is I tend to, when I GM, I try to immerse the players as much as I can. And this time I did that by explaining magic to you the way you would have been taught in Din. And I wish I had just told you how it functioned from the get-go, and then had you go, okay, and then break your brain a little bit to play a character who doesn't understand the full scope. Just because I think it would have allowed you guys to do crazy things with debt magic. Like for a while you guys were like, but debt magic is separate from, and I'm like, no, all magic is debt. They're just calling it debt magic because they see it as, it's like a, they're seeing it as stealing from the future, right? A resource they can't control or understand. So they're just giving any magic related to time or taking something from another realm or reality or whatever, they're calling it debt magic. But it's all the same. All magic is sort of this weird conjuration. You're just taking it from somewhere, and everybody can cast fireball, but it just doesn't, it's just how you do it. So I wish I had done that and told you high level scope from day one, so that you could figure out probably, you know, a way you wanted to play your character, and then have your character grow to a spot once they learned more about magic. But I was interested to see if somebody who only thought the way magic worked in a particular form, if they could break out of that. Because I just like seeing if players will go, no, wait a second, can I break out of, you know, that's the way they say magic works. But if you've got a character like Brad who's doing magic differently, can they bridge the gap from their understanding to what Brad's doing and, you know, learn that way? So yeah, that's my answer.
The way I see it is that we all got into this open world MMO without the tutorial and anything and discovered it along the way. And I think there's magic to that, you know, like,
I love
appreciate
that.
the fact, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it was really cool because there was like a moment when I was playing Jude at the very beginning where I was like, first of all, I was like absolutely shitting my pants from the moment I was even cast on the show, because I was like, holy fuck, what am I gonna do? I don't know how to do this. Oh my god. And so like there was this period of time where like I know exactly in my mind where my line of like learning matched Jude's, and that was really cool because it was like she and I got to learn and figure out things together, and then it made when I started like thinking more outside of the box, or I started doing like asking questions or playing a little bit more chess or trying to like those episodes where we're all doing like head math where we were like, wait, okay, what's a cool fucking idea, you know? It made that, in my opinion and in my experience, it made that so much more satisfying because I was like, whoa, I learned it. Like, I had no idea. Now I made it. You know, it was like full anime transformation. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, let's see. Let's answer this one. It just popped up in the chat, but I know you all want to talk about it. What happened to the Delameres when they went to New York and then to the new, what does that say? Then to the new Din? Oh, there isn't a new Din. Because time isn't linear. They actually created Din. So the Din that they grew up in is the one that they end up creating later. But, you know, time isn't in an arrow. Anyway, sorry. So I'll answer that one about Din, and you guys answer the one about your Delameres.
Okay. I mean, I guess because it was never realized, you know, like what happened to the Delameres all in everybody's different heads and headspaces, because it's all about yes and. The way this world works is that we say something and PB is like, yeah, that's crazy enough to work. Why not? But in my mind, like Zura, my Dalamere, when I went to you know, like New York, Zura became a motorcycle. I just never called him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we talked about opening season 2, everybody coming in on bikes, which would be their Dalameres. So I think in my brain, the brand is Dalamere of the bike.
I love that.
Yeah. So.
And they all kind of look like the Dalameres we had.
Either colors or like different shapes and things like that. So yeah.
We were only gone for like a day. Not even that.
Yeah.
Like hours.
Yeah. It's crazy when you think about it.
And then what happened? The thing is, not for me, the question isn't what happened to them when everybody went to New York, but what happened when everyone fucking ascended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And like in my head canon as well, the Dalameres were like those I can't remember what they were called. Do you know those Philip Pullman books where everyone's soul is an animal?
Yeah.
It's like,
okay,
like that's
Golden
what
Compass.
a Dalamere was like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those creatures. That's I imagine that the Dalamere, because Dalameres find you're connected to them in like a weird way.
They also mimic you.
Yeah.
Which is super
Right.
creepy, which is why the whole, like, that honestly parallels really well with, like, Titus's, because when he was gone, it was like, you know, we were still lugging Titus's Dalamere around, and it was fucking traumatizing because it was just, you know, it was like him.
And he would just parrot. Can I say that was such a fucking cool thing that Meyer came up with, I think, in one of the earlier episodes. He just fucking randomly dropped this bit of lore that was like, hey, I think it would be really cool if the Dalamere doesn't like talk at all until the person that they're connected to dies, and then they just parrot them. And I was like, that is so fucked up. I love it. Yes. So yeah, and then we ended up getting to use it in the show. So yeah, it was really, really good.
abandoned my Dalamere.
No, you did. You were straight up like,
The thing is, I did plan on bringing them back. I planned on bringing them back like pretty much from the get-go, but then things just started like really kicking off, and it just kind of slipped my mind.
Yeah.
Because of how retroactively things work. Sorry, go on.
I don't know. I was just gonna say my Dalamere is like still in that space between where I could see Titus but not like get to him.
Your realm. Yeah.
Thanks for saving me, Uwu.
Yeah. Don't worry, your Dalamere just grows up to become the observer. It's fine.
You Yoshi'd your Dalamere.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that. Is that true? Is
That's
that
what I have written down, yeah. And I also have things of like that your sword exists still in the world. So even though you guys have ascended, like your weapons and stuff still exist, and now they're like legendary items. Yeah. So you've got you've got the crescent daggers that are Estrella's. They're just legendary items now.
Wait, that makes Observer. I love the Observer even more now. Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, it originally was not my intention, but when the show ended, I was like, I always take some time to look back and go, okay, now where are the answers or the loose ends that I just want to answer for myself, and that was one of them. Like, what happened to your Dalamere that you left in that space? And I was like, dude, it would be so cool if. So yeah, and then I just handed myself right into that.
It would be crazy if there's like. No, go ahead.
No, it'd be crazy.
I was just gonna say it'd be crazy if there's like lineages of like monks or something that get the weapons and then they pass the weapons down from ward and king to ward and king to ward and king. And so like the ones that Estrella has are actually hers from the beginning of time and the end of time.
Yeah,
bro,
that's really fucking cool. Oh, that sword that you have, Lear had, was actually passed down. And in that episode 8, when you guys were playing the original Kingmakers, one of them had the sword, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Sonia that had the sword. Yeah. Yep. Very, very cool. So that one has been around for a very long time, which is super cool. Which actually leads into another question. Hold on, let me look for it. Yeah, in episode 8, when they went back to the beginnings of Din, how did the events of that episode and Urfir's actions change things in the story and settings in ways you hadn't originally anticipated from the beginning of the show, if they did at all? Everyone was playing the ancient heroes except Brad played Urfir. It felt like there was a bit of mental chess game happening between you and Brad regarding the story or setting. Actually, I had always intended that... what I originally wanted to do was have the original Kingmakers, that crew that they went back and played, their timeline was going to be going backward as we were watching our Kingmakers go forward until they kind of like met at one point, which would be awesome. But we just never got to do that again. We never got to revisit those characters because either scheduling conflicts would have somebody gone when they wouldn't be normally, so it was just like we just never got a chance to go back and visit those characters. But those characters originally came from another continent under the instruction of either Blackbird or Urfir to found Din. So they are the original Kingmakers. They paved the way for everybody to, be born and the society to be structured in a way in which everyone respects Blackbird, and the fact that he is going to just come down and pick an apprentice and everybody's like, yeah, okay, sure. So they basically establish all of that
But we made it.
Yeah. Just because time's not linear. So in a way, you guys are, Kingmakers twice over. You've playing the people that kind of like set up the land and the history as well, which is super cool.
I like to think about the world of Din like in the book The Three Body Problem, time isn't linear, but also the fact that like within the three body problem, like within a particle is a whole universe.
Yes.
So like everything that we created, even though like when we created Din and it looked like Din as it was present day, it doesn't mean that that's how it was a split second ago, when Jude was forming it, everything around it could have been happening. Time itself could have been happening. You know, like had we frozen time and like got a camera all the way down and then, you know, got a macro lens on it, you might have seen, you know, like Sonya and Goldsea and everybody, like, you know, do everything else while the battle was happening. It's really, really wild when you think about like these characters as like being like, you know, this post-human kind of like they're like proto-gods before like everything happens, and so like everything around it's still fantasy and real life and everything else, and you have Nocturne and you have everything else going on, but like these guys are like, they're all like mini Dr. Manhattans just doing whatever the heck they want, and it's really cool to like kind of take a step back and think about it and go, how would this happen, and kind of explain it, because we're storytelling, so like you can basically put an excuse in it, or like a reason for every single thing that goes forwards. And I don't know, I'm rambling. I'm rambling.
No,
Hi.
that was good.
Hi.
That was also the least amount of mental chess I think that we did the entire season, that episode. I kind of knew what the structure of that one was about, and also Erufir was like drunk and crazy, so I wasn't playing any games. I just had to be drunk and crazy. And I knew that we were getting to a point at the end of the episode when they would go and do something.
Yeah.
Or it says something that was the go and create the Rivers of Din episode.
Yep.
The rest of it was mental chess. That one was like the least mental chess episode, I think, between me and PB.
That makes me think of something else. What did you just say, Brad, before the mental chess bit? Oh yeah,
Rivers?
that's something. The Rivers of Din. So somebody asked a question of like, how did Garoon get wounded, and what was there were a couple of questions about the wound. So I'm just going to try to address those really quickly. Garoon is not wounded. So the prosecutor, which is the ranger version of Tim, they trapped in the middle of Din. Remember, if you remember, like from that episode, when they birthed Din, they put an actual human in the middle of it. So that's the wound, and he's slowly breaking apart Din. So as he's trying to escape. So originally there was another reason for the wound, but this is just so much cooler that I refuse to even acknowledge that the other one existed before now. So that's just it. That's canon now. But in the episode where we go back, episode 8, when we're the original Kingmakers, and they look at that tiny spot and they say like, this is going to grow. That's the wound, actually. And it was my intention, like with the Delameres and everything, I assumed you guys were going to be going like an epic travel kind of situation where you'd be going from one side of the Din all the way to the wound, to head woundward to kind of like get to the wound and then close it. But what you guys ended up doing was just like, you know, I set out to be like, all right, here's a general brainstorm roadmap for a JRPG. But what we did, I much prefer that. So yeah, we just didn't end up traveling as much as I thought we would. Otherwise, I think the Delameres would have played a bigger part as well. So yeah, at some point during this, I think it just became clear that the way Leah was playing Vega, it made me go, wow, okay, you know, I'm playing Garoon in the first couple of episodes, both of them, the Garoon of Many and the Garoon of One. And I just noticed the way that Leah was portraying her character. I went, holy shit, it'd be really cool if she ascends into Garoon at the end of this. But I didn't say anything because I don't want to railroad anybody's character. I just watch and see what people do, and then I offer them stuff and like, hey, if you want to do this is cool. If not, we'll do something else. But yeah, at some point it just became clear, like, holy shit, this is an origin story. This isn't we're saving the world. This is we're birthing it. And I was like, that is so cool. So yeah, that I hope that answers the Garoon and the wounds and stuff like that. So
can I say a weird thing?
Yes, absolutely. Always. You can say whatever.
No, I'm kidding. Just end it. When I made the character of Erufir and I was naming him, his name is Eru from Tolkien's Middle Earth. Eru means he that is alone, the supreme god and creator of all, which is really weird. And then the second half of his name is from Norse, which is, and I'm going to fuck this up, but it's Aeleifr, Aeilaeifr, every letter in the alphabet, which means lone descendant. And it's just weird because I didn't know any of this stuff when I made Erufir. I had a weird process. The process of making this character was completely crazy.
It was very weird.
But it is strange how we do end up becoming the creator. Like Eru actually really kind of wasn't, but it's weird that became the story as well, and I named him after those two things, and it still happened.
Yeah,
And
I forget what episode it
is, but
was,
freaks me out.
but there was an episode where I realized you had now become Ouroboros itself. Like you were a character that had no birth and no death, and I went, what the fuck? And then
Well, my character sheet the whole time said the future is my past and my past is the
yeah,
future. Or
yeah,
whatever.
and I think that's why I was freaking out when it was. There was an episode where you're talking to Garoon,
All it
and
said.
it's like, you know, you ask to be born in a certain way or something like that, and I was like, my brain went, oh my god, that's the moment, that's the deal he made with Garoon. Then it comes back, and you know, he's created by Garoon and is just kind of like his own. Yeah, so fucking cool.
Yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
But I was going to be a paladin at first, because when you
Yeah.
told me to first record my thing, I was
Right.
just supposed to be another one of these fucking sword-swinging boring characters. They're on the all the other boring ones. But
We had too many
then
boring
you...
characters. I'm glad you choose the boring one.
No, I was really excited. I was like, oh yes, because I love playing paladins. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
Most people don't like playing paladins, and they do it begrudgingly, but I like it.
Yeah.
And then I was
And then
really
you
excited to play a
switched.
paladin, and then PB went, you have to play the mage.
No, I didn't.
And
I
was
did
like,
not. I did not
"What?"
make you play the mage.
And she was like, no, you're right, you didn't.
Thank
You
you.
went, oh, what about if you played the mage?
I
And
said
you were really
it would be
excited
cool
about
if
it, and I went,
someone
no.
played a mage, and you decided to do that on your own. I didn't.
Yeah, because
I said
what
we
am I
can
going
all
to do? Go
play sword and
no
board
after
nights.
you get really. We've all seen PB get really excited and happy about it. What am I going to be like? No.
It is very.
Okay, but listen,
I was struggling to
So
say
what I'm
no to
saying
that
is
as
you
well.
emotionally blackmailed me into playing
Oh
the
my
character.
god, I'm gonna barf. But here's the thing: is
Are
that
you
like
happy about that?
I knew what was going on. So when you were like, I could play the mage, my brain went, oh my god, because it's gonna be you and me. Kind of like fighting each other the whole time, and I was like, "Yes, that'll be so good."
I just one of the main reasons I was genuinely like apprehensive about playing the mage is I didn't want to be Blake again,
Yeah, yep.
and I was a bit. I think they're really similar, but Blake is or, you know, like Blucian, whatever you fucking want to call him, Wix, is
spoilers.
not
No, I'm just kidding.
emotional. This is literally, if you haven't seen all of the things, you're fucked up. But yeah, like he is not driven by the same things at all. The way that they are, the way that they kind of appear, and the way that they attempt to do stuff. Because Blucian was all about creating chaos as well, because in the chaos he would be able to find patterns that he could use to determine whether everything was real. And Eru had to do the same thing. He was like, oh fuck, I can't even trust my own magic. I can't trust whether what I'm divining is actually coming from a source that is, you know, like being rooted through Garoon or our enemy or whatever he, you know, at the time he thought it was. And so they both had to figure out whether they were in the Matrix their own ways. But the reason Eru was entirely driven by the two things of like love and kind of trying to be the best. And then Vega showed up and he didn't have to be the best anymore, so it was really nice because he was like, oh cool, if I die it doesn't matter, they've got me in Vega, so I can just fuck around.
Which is so,
So that's
crazy
exciting.
because Vega ends up like marking you and creating you. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Oh my god, just in madness.
Yeah.
Crazy dude.
Anyway, yeah, it was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Okay, let me grab another question here. This one I think is interesting, but I don't know how you would answer it, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. Have any of you thought about like if there will be consequences for ascending and choosing to be the Garoon of many?
We all sort of did on the night that it was when we were talking about it pre the final episode, there was like a vague idea of like what was going on, and we kind of went back and forth a lot over like what's the right one to, because there is no like morally clear good answer, which is the problem. I didn't really have to worry about it too much because I knew that I was going to just become whatever post-human Eru is and then just be back on that thing. But I remember everyone kind of going back and forth over which one was the most appropriate for the story and that what their characters would do, and also which one is kind of morally cleaner. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what everyone said though.
The Garun
No, I
of
don't-
one.
Everyone
to me
went
seems
Garun
like
of
the bad
many.
guy.
Yeah, no one went Garun of
many, but I think
one.
Yeah, I
Which
mean
is
about
crazy
the
because
process. I mean,
if it were me, I would choose one over the many. So
You're a bad guy.
it makes sense because I'm the bad guy. Okay, but hear me out. Hear me out. Okay.
Did we
Let's think
does
about
everyone
this for a
know
second.
what
Yeah.
the Garun of one and many means? 'Cause
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
'cause that
Let's.
influenced my decision on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and take over because I don't like speaking. Drac, please go ahead. Explain
God.
to them
I'm
what
nervous now.
one versus many is.
So, like, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Garun of one was essentially like, hey, there are so many universes splitting off from this, it's going to end up we're going to end up dying. Like, everyone's going to end up dying. Every universe is going to end up dying if we don't, like, trim the shrubbery down to one.
Yeah.
Whereas the Garun of many was like, hey, it's not a place to trim anything. Just let it go wild. And if we die, we die. And I had Radroth go with the Garun of many because I don't think, I think, especially with how desiccation, how it came about, and apparently it happening in every universe, I think right down to the core, Radroth is someone who wants to help as many people as possible. And will take that burden on himself, and like the apparently inevitable doom of all of the universes was the equivalent of the droughts to him. It's like, I'm going to figure out a way to make sure this doesn't happen. So I think he was like, okay, I'm going to save as many people as possible, and I refuse to believe that if we let them grow, we'll all die out. I'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
And that's why he went with the many, because with the one,
man.
you have no choice. You're stuck with one. You can't like undo that.
Yeah.
So that was his kind of mindset when I picked that.
Yeah, for Lear, I mean, like, the reason why I chose what I chose is because I think I already voiced it in character, but I did it because it was the most selfish reason to do it. You know, like, he is not from where Vega is from, is not where Jude is from, but they all found each other and they are perfect for each other, and they found each other through the cosmos, right? And that would not have happened if they were all just, you know, Lear, Jude, and Vega within one reality. You know, like, I think they had decided that it doesn't matter, like, you know, where they would always find each other. But I think that just because, by virtue of the fact that that happened with them, that they would want that eventuality to happen ad infinitum.
Yep.
So that's why Lear chose that, you know. I don't think there'd be a reason for him to want to choose the other to, I think Lear at least would be kind of like, you know, evil. It would be like contrary to everything that they had learned so far.
Yeah, I don't necessarily view evil Lear as
Lear
evil.
does.
Yeah, totally. Totally get it. And I, for the record, I think everybody chose what their character would have chose. And in my head canon, these group of people could have only ever become the Garun of many. And then there's an alt reality of events of Kingmakers that we didn't see that become the Garun of one, right? And it's the Lear without, you know, Jude and without Vega, and, you know, and then they become so, but it's always these core that then ascend into the Garun of one and the Garun of many. And for my brain, and this is just like my weird perspective on it, is like if the heat death of the universe is coming, I view the Garun of like many to be like anti-vaxxers or people who are just like, global warming doesn't exist, it's fine, it's the natural order of things, it doesn't matter if, you know, where the earth is this time, we're, you know, destroying it and all this stuff is happening, it's not a big deal. And, you know, the Garun of one is like, yo, bro, we gotta just like trim the fat a little bit, you know, we don't necessarily need like one timeline to rule them all, but we need to, this branch needs to be pruned a bit and over here needs to be pruned a bit, otherwise we're all gonna die. But
both seem very extreme, Like
Yeah.
one is one lane, one is all the lanes. There's no midways.
I don't think Garoon is like one, we need one timeline. I mean, it's the Garoon of one, but it's not we need one timeline to rule them all. It's more just like this reality has like 8 different things, and the only small thing that differentiates them is like one tiny decision. So we're just gonna cut this and then merge them all into this one.
But that's exactly why for Vega I chose many, because and even the little line I wrote right at the beginning before we started was "We are strongest as one," and it was very much down to the interpretation of that I chose many in the end, because from Vega's perspective, she's been able to do these fucking extraordinary things that she would never have even dreamed of being able to do, and she's like, why there is no limit? Why should there be a limit? I can do whatever I need to do to save the people I need to save. And she thinks that through doing it this way, there's so many realities in which to find a solution that doesn't involve destroying every reality. So that's where
it's interesting too, because like the Garoon of one, the idea that you need to like, prune to save everybody is trusting yourself and your judgment, whereas Garoon of many is trusting everybody around you. So it's kind of like
This is
it also feels like, from the perspective of the characters that were, in this reality, right? The ones that we were playing, based off of everything that we learned, at least like the reasoning for Estrella was that choosing to be the Garoon of one would be choosing to give up on the abilities of everyone around me to change the course of all of this too.
Yeah. But there is something to be said about the Jude that we knew at the end was only present because of a reality merging into another. Right? Yeah. So it's just, there is no morally right answer. Yeah. And I love that. I personally love that. You could argue either side, which is super cool. And I think throughout our lifetime, we're going to go one side and then another as we grow and age and change. Sorry, Mergs, please continue.
No, it's okay. I have a
This is me last episode.
I'm joking. I love you. Go, Merg.
You all. Murgles, you have the floor, baby.
Yes, Murgles, just spit it out. Just get it out. Just start talking.
The idea is maybe we have this understanding of the Garoon of one and the Garoon of many, and the Garoon of many is like, just let everything go, it's not our place. But maybe the Garoon of many is just constantly trying to find another solution.
Yeah.
So it's not a letting go of just let everything, it's not our place, but maybe it appears that way to everybody except for the Garoon of many, who is trying to send her rangers to find the solution to the heat death of the universe in another way. Maybe, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I love that.
I like that.
It makes sense. Go on.
May I add to this? I mean, this is from no. Okay, well.
What?
I saw Leah. Leah shook her head. I looked at all the cameras and I saw one head going.
little shit, please.
No, I this is from very much an outside perspective, because I haven't had as much time to think about it the way you guys have. I see the Garoon of one and the Garoon of many as the same thing. One is just at the beginning and the other is at the end. One is a goal that someone sets, and then the other is, I guess, the goal that they didn't realize they were trying to get to. So the Garoon of one is actively trying to trim the fat.
It's liberals in their 20s.
And it's almost like, I mean, that's really good. It's almost like the math concept of x approaching infinity. It never makes it to that bottom line. It is always actively trying to get there, but it can't. There's always a smaller number. I see that as like the Garoon of one being very foolhardy and arrogant, and actively, infinitely trying to do this thing, not understanding that they can't do that, and eventually, which can't really happen, they have to be the Groon of many. It's almost like by accident. They have no choice. They can't really affect everything and fix everything. But it's really ridiculously high level stuff because your brains are melting. But I definitely see them like it's just they're exactly the same thing. Maybe not at the same time.
Yeah, that's
Whereas
very interesting.
I'm talking too much here, but like for me, as far as the character of Lear is concerned, he intrinsically is a very selfish character. So had Jude not died, and had they been together in Ascension, for him, they were one. And so mentally, not what is Garoon, what is the Garoon of many, what is the Garoon of one, but what are we now? I think Lear would have gone one in that moment. Whether or not the other, Jude and Vega would have gone the same way, no idea. But like for Lear, if that was the case, that's what he would have chosen. But because Jude was gone, but the possibility of Jude will never go, he went with many instead.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense to me. Ow! Yeah.
I also before we move on, like in
Mm-hmm.
terms of Murgle's theory about it being kind of like like the whole logistics thing of always trying to find a solution, right? Even like Leah's character, she was talking about how that was kind of the theme there. I feel like the whole group choosing the one of many kind of makes sense too, in terms of the fact that we were always trying to find loopholes and always trying to like do things perfectly, and it never worked out perfectly. And I feel like that was part of that consequence too.
Yeah, and it's interesting because then it's like just that same theme repeating over and over again. Then of course you would choose many because you're constantly trying to figure out another way, another answer. Yeah, that's really, really good. Did anybody pull anything from, hold on, sorry. Did you have anybody real or fictional that you drew from as a reference point to inform your character?
Sort of. I think I mentioned this before, or at least mentioned it to some friends before, but looks-wise, it was based on Scar and Kobe from Lion King. You can ask Murgles. I sent Murgles a Pinterest board, and it was like maybe two humans. Everything else is just different screenshots of Kobe and Scar from Lion King, because we had originally planned for Razroth not to be a villain, but like to have the potential and hit like all of the tropes of a villain, but leave plenty of space not to be. So, and I'm just a big fan of Scar and Kobe, the look of it at all. So that's who I pulled reference from looks-wise.
He's as plain as the mark on his face.
Isn't there an episode where you wear the Lion King t-shirt, or did we not do that?
Yeah.
When we went, so we couldn't. You probably couldn't see it because of the way it was cropped. But I was wearing. I don't have it on me. But I was wearing a Lion King T-shirt when we went to New York. That whole time as we were in New York, I was wearing a Lion King T-shirt that has Scar with the two hyenas on either side of him. And I think it said like "Be prepared" or something like that on it.
It's so good.
And I thought that was a lot of fun. I also bought. We also for that one as well. As a joke, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Brad or someone said I should wear like just a full like tight leather top for Razroth. And I bought the top, but it was
I didn't ask.
And I bought the top. I got the Lion King top and that top, but it was very loud and hard to wear. way tight and uncomfortable than I thought it was. So I didn't end up wearing it. But in another universe, Razroth was wearing all
cracking up
leather.
the all
of that, yeah. The
Your
Grid of
latex
One
suit.
version, yeah. Where is that? Yeah, I'm going to answer this one from Faye, and I know a million other people, because I get asked this a lot, but what do the card results mean? I mean, in a perfect world, so I coded that website by myself, and I'm not the best at that at all. So obviously, and I made the cards as well, so I could only make so many, but just for canon's sake, there are obviously like infinite possibilities and combinations and more animals than I'm able to like have on the website. But the way that it would work is basically ranger recruitment. Fuck it. We're just going to talk about it. Ranger recruitment is that if you want to become a ranger, you need to go and find your quantumly linked version of yourself and kill them so that they cannot affect you anymore. Because when you're right, because the moment one of them is observed, the waveform is collapsed and only one remains, right? So like there's this whole idea that when you act and do things, you will affect your quantumly linked part. So in order to become a ranger, you kind of have to collapse the waveform. Whether you want to be a ranger of one or a ranger of many, that's what you need to do. And the card that you find is the location of your quantumly linked other. So basically, a ranger will then come.
Way.
Yeah.
No.
So, are you freaking out? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm freaking. Fuck. No.
So yeah, you would basically, a ranger comes to you essentially and talks about the theory of like one versus many, and then if you're recruited, then they go, all right, well, we're gonna do a ritual to take you to this location, wherever this takes you. You gotta find yourself and you gotta fucking take them out. And in my brain, it's like people who try. It's whichever one wins would then become a ranger, whether or not because the idea is if you're quantumly linked, that quantumly linked version of you is not the one that went to another. It's so fucking similar. There's maybe one tiny thing off. So that quantum version of you would want to be a ranger as well. So it's like whichever one wins then would become a ranger. It's just a matter of one or many.
So cool.
So yeah, it's kind of a
And
little
what
bit
about
Highlander style.
the what is it? Because some of them were marked with red, as opposed to 90% of the other ones were not.
So
Faye's been thinking about how red her card was since she got this.
Yeah.
So
like all of them were not red. One of them was.
One of them was. So that's crazy because that happened in Nocturne too. But the red would imply that you are the only one in existence. All the others have been taken out.
Oh.
All of them?
Yeah.
Or just the quantum linked ones?
All of them.
Guess whose character had red on their card and the only one from a certain show.
From Nocturne. Theo. Yeah. He was the only
Holy
one left.
shit.
Yeah. And that just fit with our story as well. So yeah.
So
it's usually
there were
just
three
like
sigils, right? Or three symbols.
so there's an animal and then there's two symbols on either side.
Correct.
But yeah.
It's so fucking crazy that Estrella is the only one left.
Yeah, I
and
know.
she made a fucking double.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That is why I freaked out when she
She was
pulled
like,
that.
I feel so alone.
Oh, I wonder why.
That's so
Trust your intuition, bitch.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
There's some
Holy
ways in which
shit,
the
bro.
game is absolutely haunted. It's so good. So yeah, I wanted to answer that one. The other one, I'll answer as well. Were you planning on releasing the rulebook? Yes, I'm keeping my Tuesdays off so that I can write this and keep follow the Table Story Discord, and I will definitely be putting info on it. I'm probably going to need to do another mini playtest at some point. Which, by the way, thank you all of you for jumping into a game that didn't exist until we made it. So that was awesome. And for
Like
helping
Din.
me playtest it. Yeah, like Din. Oh.
Like Din.
Oh.
You got him, Michaels.
I have a question for you, PB. Are you aware that you ripped off Jet Li's The One?
Yes.
That was the first thought I had when you said that the quantum thing. I was like, so
Yep.
yeah.
This is what me and Aaron were talking about yesterday, about how every time you can pour hours and weeks and months and years into a project, and then
somebody
goes, "Oh
goes,
yeah, just
"Oh,
like
yeah,
Jet
just
Li's
like-
The One," and you're like, "Cool."
The trick is being
That's what kills me.
Everything. You just throw the whole. You want to do one of
Get
those?
rid of it. I swear to God, if Final Fantasy VII Remake is gone, my balcony's right there. I'm gonna fucking go. Just like, let's go. Anyway,
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
definitely is. So.
It definitely has to be, right?
We've
Oh.
got to get you to move to a bottom floor.
Oh God. Okay. Let's see. This one I feel like gets asked almost every time, but it's a fun one. Hollywood swoops in, buys up this fucking thing. Never would happen. We would never sell it. But who would you cast to play your character?
Oh shit!
Me, give me a fucking role for God's sake.
How is it? Shit. What? Oh, god damn it! I had it. Robert Pattinson, right? Would be Titus, right, Johnny? Because it's your favorite.
I would actually. I love Rob Pat. I would pick James McAvoy.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Robert Pat's too.
That changes some things for me personally, but okay. Interesting.
Oh.
Or
man,
Timothy
that's a hard
Chalamet,
one.
which is who I based him physically.
I'd get
off
Rami
of.
Malek. Rami Malek would play everything. Rami Malek.
Because that would change things for Miranda personally.
Yep, that's why he's been
I think that would
cast.
change things for me, actually. Yeah.
Drac and I just foaming at the mouth.
Honestly, oh god. Probably.
This is difficult.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah,
I would
I'm
have,
horrific with celebrity names, so you guys
I
can
would
pick
have
one for me.
Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder. Robert Downey Jr. as Leo.
Get out of here! Oh my god. Oh.
What? He's a great actor. I love him.
Oh no. Yeah, no,
You know what
I
I
see
think
it.
would be
Oh my
really
God.
cool is if in a movie version of this, Leah and Raz were played by the same actor.
Oh, so like
Yeah.
That'd
Eddie
be
Murphy.
kind of
Wait.
cool.
Like,
Yeah, I already cast you, didn't I?
Or Mike Myers.
Yeah, like twins almost. That'd be interesting, actually.
I think I'd pick I don't know, Michael B. Jordan, probably. I think. I don't know. I think he's good at playing like a I guess not so great royal, because he did in yeah, I think Michael B. Jordan.
Right, but Raz isn't like royalty. He's the.
Yeah.
He's
mean,
the, he is, but he wasn't like. I guess he wasn't like the entitled royalty element. He was more grounded.
Yeah.
It felt like.
Ooh, Melly just said Gwendolyn Christie for Jude.
Yeah.
I pick Emily Blunt for Jude.
For sure.
Emily Blunt would be
Really?
for Jude.
Emily-
Yeah.
Because that would
I was
change
thinking
things for
also
him personally.
Yeah. Margot Robbie is who I would cast as Jude.
Oh.
No,
That
I'm
also
kidding.
changes things.
I think like a young Katie Sackhoff who played Starbuck in Battlestar
That'd be
Galactica. I think.
I
would be
think
good.
Billie Eilish for Vega.
We already got Vega. It's Finn Wolfhard.
I was gonna go
My
for Ruby
apologies.
Rose when she gets to her fucking ascended state. Was how I sort of imagined her. Tomboy.
That changes things for me personally.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I don't think I could. I can't choose. I shouldn't choose Blackbird because I didn't create him. So PB.
Robin
Who
Williams.
would play him? Robin Williams.
Hands down.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That'd be good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it, yeah.
Because I
I
think
would
you're
be mad.
expecting
Yard.
Blackbird to be just like somebody else,
Damon.
right? And then this like warm fatherly figure with a twinkle in his eye shows up. Oh, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Who isn't cast? Australia?
Yeah, I've got no fucking idea who I would cast.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh, what's her
someone
name?
who,
Her name. What is her name? She's in Blade Runner 2049, and she's
Mackenzie
also
Davis.
in
No, you're not talking
Knives
about
Out.
Mackenzie Davis.
Oh.
Knives Out.
Knives
Oh,
Out.
yeah,
I
Anna
was
de
gonna
Armas, I think.
Yes,
Anna de
but I was
Armas.
gonna say Ava Green. Right? Is that who I'm thinking of?
That would
Yeah, from
potentially work.
Casino
Oh, yeah.
Royale.
Titus though, because they need to have on-screen chemistry for me. in my
Timothy
head. I'm
Chalamet.
thinking this too much. I'm overthinking it. You want Timothy Chalamet to play Australia?
I want to say
No,
Victoria
Timothy
Pedretti
Chalamet is-
for Australia.
Oh yes,
Victoria
Victoria
Pedretti.
Pedretti is perfect.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
I
in
can see her.
Haunting of Bly Manor
I love her.
and
so much.
Haunting
I
of Hill House.
fucking, you know what? I actually love her, and I
And
think
you.
that she would be good for it. She plays like the
What's her name?
the kind of like tortured character.
Victoria
very well.
Pedretti.
She's also on.
Oh my
You.
god, I do love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
she's
played.
amazing.
She played Love on You as well, and she's like actually really great. So
Yeah,
I
she'd be really
wholeheartedly
good.
supported that.
The
Yes.
right energy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good
so good.
casting.
Okay, I have a couple more here. Some of them are a little bit similar, but I think this one is still worth asking, which is, what's one thing you would tell the you that started the game now that you've finished it?
In a month or two, you're gonna have to fucking go through the worst breakup ever, dude. So like get your shit together for the best of it. Like prepare yourself. Do you mean about the game, or you mean in the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the game, Brad.
Right. Yeah. Well.
Easy mistake.
In that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, easy mistake. I thought you said he's a mistake.
Holy shit!
Hey, dude, that's
Well, I mean, I
rough.
think about that on a daily basis about how Brad is a
Send me that.
mistake, but
She sends me that as a message every single day. It's
yeah,
just
hold on.
all
I
I
actually
do.
didn't do it today. You're right.
Hold on.
You are a mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and say something insane right
Okay.
now. I am really happy with my entire character from start to finish. I don't know if I would change anything really. I really enjoyed playing this character. I would love to be able to tell the cast to like dial it back. I don't know anything. Stop asking me and telling where do we go? What do we do? I'm
That's
like,
why
I don't
I
fucking
sort of
know.
wish I had explained the magic at high level, because then they would have understood that you really didn't know anything else. Yeah, so
Well, Vega
I don't
got
know.
it eventually.
Nobody makes
or,
sense
like,
for the characters
Leah.
to still do
it's true.
it.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
The characters would
And
still
it
do
does,
it.
But I think it was one thing that I think I didn't enjoy eventually was just how much screen time I was being taken up. Like it felt like it was so much Eru to like the first bit of him being in it, because everyone was like, what do we do, Eru? Do something, Eru. Fucking turn back time. And I was like, I am the only one who can do this, who can answer this or can even try. So I had to constantly, it felt like everything was funneling up to me, and I really wanted to see what everyone else could do, because it felt like everyone was still learning their characters, and I was too, and there was a bit there. So I'm really happy with the fact that for a bit Eru dips, and then they didn't have that like guiding star or that hand to hold of the big strong mage who, you know, they thought knew everything. But the problem is Eru acted like he knew everything as well, which didn't help. But in general, I really like the way that this played out for this character from start to finish. So I don't know if I would want to go back and influence much for my character. I liked it a lot. I love playing this character in this campaign.
I felt the same guilt.
things that
like, I try to encourage people all the time, like, you can do like the cool magic shit too. Like, don't trust me, you can do it. And like, as the Faker, I was like constantly like, go, let's try. Like, give it a go, man.
That's
I
why
want to be a
that
mercer.
became Eru's teaching style.
Yeah.
He was like, the only thing, I'm just going to push you off a cliff, you can fly. You know, like,
rip your heart out, live.
But like, that was him just being like, I can rip someone's heart out and put it back in. I can also make you all forget. I can let you remember.
Yeah.
I want you to be scared. You should all be scared of dying. We're all going to die. Something's up, you know, and it worked to a degree. But it also turned them again. Well, it turned Leah heavily against him as a teaching.
I think it's great. Narratively, it's amazing. But yeah.
Yeah, me too. I really like the whole thing.
Yeah, but I'm with Brad. Apart from like the small things like, you know, oh, that cool sword combo, whatever. No character here on this show was made just by the player that played them, you know? Like throughout the course of the season, everybody had something to do with shaping that character, and because of that, I wouldn't change a thing.
Mm-hmm. I think I would have told myself to be more of an active participant in a lot of ways. I find that on shows I typically struggle with kind of like finding my footing and wanting to like take up that space. So I always end up playing like a more supporting role typically, which is not a bad thing. I enjoy it, but I think that is something that I would probably address in order to like actually kind of have a little bit more development. But also like just in terms of the relationships too, you know, kind of out of character, talking about, you know, different kind of things that maybe cool moves, or maybe, hey, we should do a scene or something, and kind of coming up with the concept ahead of time so we would feel a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more prepared for something like that. I feel would have been good.
Wait, your group did not have a Discord about like cool moves and.
No, we did, but like
right.
we didn't talk like a crazy amount about that stuff,
It was mostly us.
We were
crying.
just vibing. Yeah. Yeah.
We're just all like whole time.
I love you so much,
But you're killing me. I think in some ways too, if I had kept you guys separated for a little bit longer, or did more of the purposefully separating you to allow you guys a little bit more space, because it's a lot when you've got 6 players together trying to juggle all of that. But every time I thought about it, it just didn't make sense that you guys would separate after a certain point. You were like, you're in it together. So
Yeah. I think
if we had separated, go on, Merks.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and if we had separated, I don't know if motivationally our characters would even have had that drive to kind of like link up again.
I agree.
Unless it was just circumstance.
It probably would have been somebody went Garoon of one, somebody went Garoon of many, and we would have been watching them both at the same time. Yeah, for sure. But I love that it was all 6 that, like you guys then ascended into one version, and we just, because
unified in the end.
Yeah, well, because the idea then is that the audience is observing and collapsing the waveform, right? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just metaphorically, that's fucking sick.
Anticipated like a giant kaiju battle once we ascended. It was curtains down. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Me too.
I
thought we were gonna form
considered
like a
it
Voltron and then fight some kaiju.
another, but I like that it's an origin story, not a finale.
Yeah.
So the fight was right before the ascension bit, and then for me, I just
was
wanted
amazing.
to know what you guys chose to ascend into, which was kind of cool.
Murgles was gonna say something before.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I was just gonna.
Johnny was too. I saw Johnny was about to talk.
Yeah,
too.
Johnny,
So
do you want to say something,
Johnny.
Johnny?
I'll be quick.
I got something to say too.
Johnny.
Go, Mercs. And I'll say something. Please.
I'll be quick. I think the only thing I still fully agree that I wouldn't want to change anything. I can see that like at the very beginning of the show, I took a long time. I feel like I genuinely took a long time to like catch up with like what everyone was doing, and Jude was constantly still sort of making like small world decisions. Like I had a hard time being like, okay, how can I really influence the world, or feeling like capable, or even just having the ideas that everyone was having. But at the same time, while it was happening, I was like, I have no fucking ideas. I have no idea. I hit sword. I use sword to hit thing. And then like
so
while that
Jude.
was happening, exactly.
It makes so much sense.
It felt, yeah, it felt so much like, I don't know. I'm grateful almost for that, that period of like, I don't know, insecurity or fear, or like not feeling like I could do cool stuff more, or not even knowing what to do. It just felt like maybe I was just fully in character, and it totally made sense for her to like not think the way anyone else did, and to take a really long time to get the hang of it.
Yeah, and then eventually she's using alchemy and changing like chemical properties to light somebody's insides on fire. Like, come on, that was awesome.
Jude had a really subtle but like really well done character development, I think, from how she started out to right to the end. Like the confidence and what she learned from being around everybody else. Like you just did a really good job of like slowly letting that influence her.
I like it definitely went from like a stoicism at the beginning to a confidence by the end. And like it's very easy to get those two mixed up if you're not really looking. But I think it was very noticeable, that change in Jude, for sure.
Oh man.
Yeah, it went from like stoicism masking, like that discipline masking the lack of confidence and faith in yourself, into having that confidence and faith.
Yeah. That's
Johnny.
Well, thank you.
Johnny.
Go.
Johnny. Johnny.
There's a lot of things I wish I would have told myself, looking back, what I know now. Firstly, a big one would be to always take risks. PB is a phenomenal GM and narrator, and always yes ands us. And I think not just myself, a lot of us in the cast, when we thought about these big grandiose things, we'd be like, oh, I really don't want to mess up the narrative. I don't want to ruin anything that could happen. And maybe this big thing that I have planned might go to shit. And there just became a point for me in the show where I was like, PB is phenomenal and is always going to yes and. So I just started taking big risks. I was like, I'm going to try to clone myself. I'm going to become another homunculus Titus. I'm going to try to put us in the Gilded Hair and see if that changes everything. And that one was really scary, but that's a whole sidebar. So one was just
I can't believe that, by the way. Yeah, that was awesome. Oh man, so many good moments like that.
So that was one, was just take risks. And then the second, kind of what Faye said as well. This cast is a powerhouse, and I found myself a lot of the times being like, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So Titus to me is a supporting character, and I don't mind that. I like that. And I think that early on, if I just would have said, hey, find your niche of who Titus is and don't be afraid to maybe step on someone's toes or take those risks.
Yeah.
That fear would have dissolved a lot quicker. So that was something that I definitely wish I would have told myself at the beginning of the show. Also, bald caps don't work like you think. Always prep more time for makeup. You can definitely black out from RP. Like when I first entered the show and we did the releasing of Titus, like I thought I was going to fucking die. Like I was profusely
Didn't we almost say in that same episode? It was the torture episode, wasn't it? And like, I think I had to be like the most fucking awful person, and I had to like insult you and stuff, and I just all of a sudden fucking wanted to pass the fuck out. It was insane.
Yeah.
I was like, I might pass out during this.
Yeah.
So it's real. Like I was like, just hyperventilating. So yeah, a lot of things.
Forgot all that Wim Hof, you know, just
Sure,
there was a question that makes me think of this.
There is, I would love to answer this
please,
as
go ahead.
well. Yeah. I kind of want to piggyback off of what Brad said earlier with him mentioning that it got kind of stressful, everyone being like, what do we do, Arufir? What do we do? And I wish I kind of told, I could go back and tell myself to like lean in more on Razroth not seeing Arufir as this all-powerful mage, because I don't know if I did it well, but as to me, I think Razroth saw Arufir as just someone he loved dearly. Like he didn't really care that he could do magic. It was cool he could do magic, but it wasn't why he was around him. And I wanted it to be a case of like, yeah, everyone has all of these theories and ideas and legends about Arufir, but to Razroth, he's the friend who became way more than a friend later on in life, that could barely swing a sword when they went to summer camp together, or would entertain him being so infatuated with this taboo magic, and allowed him to like kind of mess around with it and play with it like just just kind of like be a normal person around him. And I wish I like leaned into that more, because I'm not sure if it really showed that much.
I think at the very minimum, like our group did a good job in most parts of trying to convey that. Like I know the relationship with Estrella and Arufir was particularly like, you know, vulnerable in terms of Rhea recognized that he was misunderstood, and she tried her best to kind of convey that, hey, you know, I understand like you're pissed off about X, Y, or Z, but there's a reason behind it. Like this is why he's doing it. Like there's like actual stuff going on up here. He's not just like some fucking, you know, crazy psychopathic like all-powerful mage.
We got that like once each, I think, early on in the... I don't remember Razroth being one of the characters that was like, Eru, what do we do next? And also Eru and Estrella had a couple of... They'd have those quick sides where they'd have like a sidebar together, which I think... I wish we had more of those. I wish I had a couple more scenes with Titus, because I don't know if we got as strong of an understanding of what Eru and Titus's relationship was, because it was just kind of so hard to get. He was always in the middle of some crazy shit going on and transforming into a homunculus and trying to kill us and shit. And I think Eru in this dynamic, like those two are the wards, so whenever Eru was around, they probably did hung out and they would talk. Like I think Eru and Estrella had that like BFF relationship. They were like combing each other's hair and watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you know, and just like
hugged each other when they were crying.
Yeah, talking about the boys they liked. And But I think with Titus, there was a point where me and Johnny were trying. I was trying to like.
I knew you were gonna bring it up. I knew it. I was waiting for it. I almost said it earlier. What's one mistake you wish? I wish I would have speed ran like everyone.
I was trying to do, but I imagined them doing that. Like that. I can see a training montage where Titus is Rock Lee. And
stole the words out of my
Eru
mouth.
is completely magically enhancing him and being like, okay, well, we'll do this one day in battle. And actually, Eru hasn't been in that many direct battles, and even when he is, he's just probably in more of a separate part. He doesn't really get in there and swing swords and stuff. So I imagine they would have been practicing like Chrono Trigger combos a lot of the time. I don't know if we got that across too much, but I do know that it was in the back of my head with all of the role play that I was doing, and we would always kind of discuss it. Yeah, that would be. I would love if this was an anime. It would need to have mini prequel shows of both the trios. And
Definitely.
Yeah, because we got Emmeline.
And it would be
we
One
had like the
Piece
Emmeline episode
Yeah.
where like we got a lot of the backstory kind of behind the other set of words. I do wish that like we had some opportunities, I guess, or like the story had allowed for it, because there just
I
was
think it
no
would have
room.
been cool to see, some one summer of training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because when we originally
with
talked
our
about
side.
it too, we had talked about doing flashbacks for everybody and going back and kind of seeing, before, but it just didn't work out that way, vibe-wise, which was that's always an interesting thing when you're, either GMing or being in a show, and you kind of have these thoughts or these ideas of possibilities. I never like to actually plan anything out in stone. Like somebody asked,
It's so hard to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can do it, but then you end up, railroading the game, which I personally just don't enjoy doing, because I think it's more fun for me to see, what the players want to do or the crazy ideas that they come up with, which just it makes it fun and exciting for me too, because then I'm like, oh wow, and then I get to add on to it. It feels like I'm playing. It's just a different version of playing, which is fun and exciting. But somebody had asked what character creation was like, and Brad had briefly mentioned being a mage, and I think if I remember correctly, I said to you guys, you're all playing knights. That when I originally pitched the show to everybody, I said, this is it, you're all playing knights. But then on character creation, I said there's room for like a traditional mage that doesn't do the sword and board, but everybody uses magic, so don't feel like you can't use magic if you're doing the sword and board. And then 2 of you are heir to the throne, and that's all I told them. And then I think you guys decided on the wards, right? Like together you were like, ooh, let's do 2 and 2, and we're gonna serve. Yeah, it was great. It was really really cool, and it informed like Din and their area that they're in. And then I went and I wrote history for the world around that. But yeah, do you guys want to go ahead?
It's not like a personal character hang up, but like I think as a member of the audience, one character I would have liked to see more of, or at least like given more opportunities to like explore them, would have been Titus, just because they did seem to be very in general, Titus did have a very deep backstory and did have a lot of like things going for him, and a lot of adversary going for him as well, inside and out of the cast, because of obviously the whole scene outside the cave or inside it, and all that.
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah, but like one thing
for
that I
telling me, Johnny.
noticed.
Never forgive you.
It was Chef's Kiss, but like one thing that
really
I noticed outside a character was the subtle change, or not so subtle change, of his character sheet title from Titus Vin Bringard to Titus the Homunculus, and it was one of those things where Lear wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Like it's
Did
just
I do
that's
that?
just yeah.
Oops.
Like
That was you.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad, bro.
And he was just Titus the Homunculus, and he'd been like that for like half a year, but nobody had spoken to Titus deeper than you get to go. And so if Johnny or Titus had anything under the hood there to like show those frayed threads of him not being who we thought he was, I don't think the opportunity was there. And I guess Lear doesn't know Titus, and Lear isn't part of that trio, So even though I saw, and I was like, I see what you're doing, you little. I stayed back, and I would have loved to see where that would have gone if that was resolved later. You know?
Yeah, we needed more like
Earlier.
more scenes with like that core group from Brittengard.
Yeah,
to kind
I
of.
agree.
I think we would have been able to get a lot more of the signs had we had those of Titus kind of feeling different in that way.
I tried to
One thing
throw
that-
some things in it that you guys probably didn't catch, but they were very, very minute. Like I stopped the
would've
eating
been-
thing.
Yeah.
I stopped a bunch of things, and I was like
Those are stuff-
I
slowly
noticed the
hinted like,
eating
"Hey, I'm
thing.
not the
Yeah.
same,"
Yeah.
but
It's like
I like.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I totally wanted to do because I was so concerned that everyone would think that this was just Blake, and I was like, I have to show some emotion on this character, but I can't do it in these scenes in front of these other 3 people. Like, I just can't.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to get them.
That was the
aside.
hang up.
And I really wanted to do an Eru does the patch up the mum and dad relationship, like, or at least take you both aside and be like, Titus, what the fuck going on? And then be like, so he said this to me, and just do that for like, I wanted to do a whole episode where I was just quietly grabbing one of you and being like, what's going on with you? Right, okay, hold on, and then going
Yeah.
back and then be like,
Right, I
actually,
remember
he said
that,
this,
actually.
like, what the fuck?
you see, I'm a salvage bitch, so I did that with the other 2.
And I wanted to try and patch it up, or at least get some answers, but like completely drop the Eru fear thing, because this was like way back in the beginning as well.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh my god, you guys, you won't believe what he said, Estrella. Oh my god, sit the fuck down. What
Girl,
he
I'm on
said
your
was-
team.
Yeah. He's such a bastard. Oh my god, he doesn't even give a shit about you this whole time. You know, I wanted to do it
so bad.
so bad.
But like,
It's so hard to find
Yeah.
time sometimes, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
shit popping off a lot of the
Yeah.
time as well.
it's like it's
I
hard
thought
to
that
be
would
like.
be
I like
good
to think-
show.
I like to think.
I was gonna say it's hard to be like I.
Thing too, Freckles. I mean, not
It's
all
hard
the
to be
time.
like I'm angry with you, Titus, for leading my friend astray, but also the world's ending. Like I can't do anything right now. I can't like be angry at you. I can't yell at you or anything like that, because like things are actively getting worse, and we can't like lose universes because you broke my friend.
I felt the same way.
Cool.
There was
Yeah.
a bunch of points where I regretted that I didn't get at least one scene with Razroth for Titus to say, "Hey, I did what I did because of everything that happens with the desiccation. I'd rather have Rhea live and me die, or me go to purgatory or this damn cave. But you did this, whether that's fair or not. Obviously, knowing the grand scope of the show, it's not. But I regret that we never had that one-on-one scene as well with
Yeah.
Razroth. And
So that's
when-
something
'cause
I would
when
have done
Razov found
differently
out-
too. Sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because when Razov found out, I had like Razov say like, I understand, but I don't forgive you. And I said that fully with the expectation of like us being able to continue like navigating that, because I think it was obviously very clear that by the end of it,
Yeah.
he loved Titus. It was very clear. But like I wanted to like show that journey of the forgiveness and like understanding and like still being angry and showing that it's still okay to be angry about it, despite having like him having good intentions and it working as well. But like, yeah, there were so many things happening. They just didn't. There wasn't.
You know what
space
we
for it, and
should
it
have
felt
done?
weirdly small compared to
And
the
this would
grand
have
scheme of
been
what was happening.
Wait, before Brad, you speak. That's why I had Rhea say I'm sorry at the end,
Yeah.
because she finally understood.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's a fun story as well, having the greater thing going on,
Yeah.
and also this personal relationship, and how those two things, you have to weigh up what's important. But you know what we should have done is what we did with the Cerebrum project, where we recorded midweek shit.
Yeah.
We
and
should have
then-
done a conversation.
Yeah.
We should have done these campfire
2-3
conversations that were
yeah.
outside of the thing between the two groups.
That would've been so
and
good.
just be, and then you could have played them during the episode or in the
The other
break
thing
section.
that we could have done, and just to be clear, none of these are regrets. I love the show. I love the way that it turned
Yeah,
out.
same.
But sometimes when you're, looking at the end and looking back, you think, oh, maybe if I had tweaked this, like it would have, provided something else. So I'm saying it from that standpoint. But what could have been interesting is not going, the world is ending right away. Just allowed you guys like, a couple, sessions, 5 or 6, maybe even before we do episode 2, right? Where Garoon shows up. and allowed you guys to really get to know each other and only be worried about running from whoever was killing the king, right? Which we now know was, Laz and them. But I
could
think
have explored Din more in that kind of
that time period
aspect as well.
I agree, and I
like
don't
to
though, just
think-
because the intro. I'm just doing Margos now. No, but to just play devil's advocate, PB. I think the opening episode for an audience, at least, because I wasn't a member of the audience at that point. It was so just. You tune in and it's the battle of the bastards. It's that high intensity that for me, I was like, this show's amazing. Yeah.
That would still be the same. It's just the first little while you're running from them. You're running from the cops for the first couple of weeks, and you're hiding, and you get to have all that development. But also at the same time, I don't know what that would have been like, because the intensity was something that was really good about the show as well. So yeah, it's tough. It's just one of those things that
wouldn't have changed the opening at all.
Yeah,
that premiere episode was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, very, very good.
I like to think that that PB said something wrote something about the finale, which is this is our favorite version of the show. And I like to think that in every idea that we have about the show, there is a version of the show where it happened, and that there is a continuous headcanon of all of us building the show in our minds for the rest of our lives about all the things that could have happened or didn't, or, all that kind of stuff. And what I love about it is that it's like, it was a show, but it's also a living thing that gets to continue on just as it continued on within itself.
Legends.
Yeah.
Legends are born. I think we've got one more question, and then I'm gonna let the cast go, and I'm gonna read you guys a thing, for just lore purposes, and wrap up. But oh wait, two more. Sorry. Okay, second to last question. Have you ever had a dream of yourself while you were in character in the game? Did you ever dream that you were?
had a dream?
Yeah. Have you ever that you were when you
Never had a dream that you
wish you
did
were
yourself so good.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear the question because all I heard was
That's what they say.
play
Yeah, but
in my head. What was the actual question?
Did you ever dream? Did you ever have a dream where you were in character?
Did you dream as your character? Ever? Have you ever had a dream where you were your character?
Like a wish? Like a wish is a dream your heart makes?
No,
Like that kind of thing?
Next question. No.
No? Okay.
I think my brain just shut
Wait,
off.
no, I mean, Brad had lots of dreams about Razrog. You know what I mean?
I did.
Yeah, did you?
It's
I
called
actually did have a series of
Thirst Makers
nightmares for a
reason.
while. I had a series of nightmares for a good time.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Holy
Oh
shit.
yeah. When the
God.
show when I first got into the show, I mean, I did some weird things to get into character. Like I was into Fey Cry first 16 minutes on loop. I had it on a file on my iTunes that I would play when I was driving. Like I would listen to weird stuff. So like that all kind of convoluted in my mind. Yeah.
Johnny,
Before we had the reunite scene, when you were getting tortured, the two of us, Johnny and I were actually writing out that we're rewatching the scene right now, and I'm trying hard not to cry, but I'm supposed to hold on to this for the episode to start, and I'm just sobbing at my computer
Johnny's the actor on set who is playing a cannibal and decided to eat human flesh at the
100%.
just at the
Bitch locked
Oh my
himself
God.
in his closet for how many hours, Johnny?
It was too long.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I think I made it 4.
Oh. Gross.
It was a while.
Gross. Anyway.
Yeah, dude. That's...
Yeah, no, I didn't dream about playing. I was never
wish?
wrapped up in my dreams.
A wish that your heart made did the characters have a dream
No,
for
did-
themselves
Have
in the
you
future?
have you had a
Did
dream
you
where
go to
you were
sleep
Jude?
and during that
Stop
time
it.
period?
Fucking
Aaron,
hell.
I had one.
I don't have a dream, baby. I made my life, Jude. I'm doing sword training. I had one. I'm doing fucking
True,
yoga.
Yeah, you started doing,
There was actually one though. It was I had a dream that I was and this was actually something I thought about doing on the show. That it was just an entirely empty space. It was all black, and the floor was just all water, right? It's a layer of just thin, like a thin layer of water, and it was like Estrella talking to the other Estrella and like having a back and forth dialogue, and like there was like some sort of a well or something, and I was thinking of like utilizing that well in some sort of like combat kind of variation to try to like pull from the well in order to like utilize it as like a level of power, and maybe like have the double either disappear or have it like take over or some shit, have it become like, you know, its own entity in order to like fucking, you know, do all sorts of shit. So that was actually a really weird one that I'm not sure what the purpose was, but it was a dream.
Thinking on it, I think maybe just travel on the Delameres, just going.
Yeah.
You know, like 3 and then 6. Nothing really too crazy. I mean, if I think too hard on it, I think I'll make things up. But the travel thing for sure. You know, just in the desert going from point A to point B, you know, like, yeah, that's it for me. I don't make stuff up.
But finally, do you guys have any like last thoughts or questions for each other or anything that you want to say about the show? Before I kick you out?
There was that one question about like, you know, character inspiration and vision boarding and stuff like that. I didn't answer that one. So
We're
I
on
guess
a different question now.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
No, please. I gotta know.
Meyer, please.
I mean, Lyra's character design was basically Avatar Aang from the comic books, like where he's like, you know, in his 30s. And I just said, hey, Murgles, that's him, but make him black and more me. Do something about the tattoo on his forehead. I've gotten ideas for that. And then, yeah, she just did it off that. The character himself, the characterizations, I mean, like, again, Joffrey Baratheon tempered by 2 people who would basically make him a human being. And then the way I do all my characters mostly, except for like a couple now, which is they are shaped by their environment. So whatever happens, so like, you know, he hates Seraphia because Seraphia did something. He likes this because this happened to him. You know, he likes Paiza, he's afraid of a gluten. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I can't believe his Paiza buddy was a monster.
Why is it so dark? When I'm on my deathbed, I will remember that, and then I'll die laughing. It's gonna be great.
It was
so good. God.
To touch on that, when I started with Estrella, it was very much so like I was talking to PB about how I wanted her abilities to be akin to like Ciri from The Witcher. I feel like emotionally and like ability wise, she was very much so a mixture between Yennefer and Ciri. Because the Yennefer side of it was like that inability to like temper your emotions and control them, as well as like that kind of reflecting and, you know, her destroying the gardens at one point and things like that. So a little bit of a mix of both.
I
but also, I love you guys.
Say Siri from your phone. I was like, wait, what?
Me too. I was like, Siri?
From your iPhone 11?
That's why I said that.
My Apple iPhone 11.
Apple iPhone.
Apple iPhone 11.
I'm going to steal Trevor from Erg and say, I like to think that, no, something that was really cool for me about this experience is typically when I write a character, I spend a long time writing them. I'll start a notebook, I'll start a vision board, I'll do a shit ton of stuff for months before I'm really ready for myself to play a character. And what was really cool about this experience was PB kind of was like, hey, do you want to do the show? And I was like, oh my God, yes, please. And she put handcuffs on me and just pushed me into the deep end of a pool. And they gave me such little information, but it was the right information. They said, hey, we want you to play this character that has golden retriever energy. He's named after Titus from Final Fantasy, who I still don't know who is to this day. So I had to look that up. And then
oh wow.
And then we open up curtain and PB goes, oh, this is the scene where you die. And for me, it was such a cool experience to never roleplay as a character and go, this is your final moments. And I
work backwards from there. Yeah.
And Faye could get emotion out of a rock, man. You could put a boulder in a fucking lone room and Faye could get it to roleplay with just the energy she brings. And the whole cast brings amazing energy. But for me, that was one of my favorite parts of the show, to just be like, hey, this is who your character is. And I like to think that Faye, and especially Drac as Raz in the beginning part of the show, crafted the character more than I did, because their emotions led me to feel who he was. I have a lot of fond memories of the show. It was a big honor to be a part of this. Thank you, PB. Thank you, Cass, for letting me be a part. Love you guys, and yeah, smile.
Random note before I start crying because that was unexpectedly emotional. That was one take. I don't think I ever told anybody that.
It was
one
first
take.
take.
We did it one take.
That was one fucking take. That intro where Titus and Estrella die, they did it one time, and I was like, well, that's great. Thanks, guys.
We didn't write anything either.
Nope,
it was literally
all
just
improv.
like, let's
Yep.
go.
Yep.
Yep.
Which is
Jesus.
something I really wanted to do for any of the scenes, and all of the scenes with the three bad guys that, you know, Cord, Grenig, and Trench did. All of that was improv as well. I basically just like set the scene and was like, go. Because as you guys saw in the finale episode, it was important to me that every aspect be improvised as much as possible. So, and we managed to pull that off. So that was awesome.
That's not easy to do, by the way. It's
I know.
fucking weird. You get chucked into a fucking call with whoever, and sometimes you don't know them that well, and then PB just goes, all right, do the best acting you've ever done in your life. Go. And you go, I love you, Estrella. I'm sorry. And you just have to go for it. And it is so weird to have to do sometimes.
Wait.
So it's hard.
The thing is, too, the cool part about that recording, Johnny, not to like just totally fangirl over this, I didn't even realize at the time that like we were gonna bring in Titus as like a playable character, right?
I didn't
But
either.
also that he would
We
be
didn't.
some sort of arachnid kind of
Yep.
fucking like spider themed
Yep.
character, and I opened up with what a tangled web we
Yep.
weave.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck? Did you base that off of like the scene we had, or did you just have ideas? Okay, so you did. All right,
Yeah.
you're a little shit. I love you.
I had to hold back a lot in the show as well. For example, the choke on Jude, the debt magic for Jude. I had that in my mind since that recording, and I went, you have to find a way to do this. And I wanted to do it so many times, and I was like, this is it. And I was so glad I saved the finale. And then there was one more when Eru breaks his hand in New York. He punches the ground and breaks his hand, and we're all like panicking because he's injured. And I promised PB at the start of this show, because PB thought it was cool, or at least mentioned to me she thought it was cool. She was like, it'd be really cool if Titus could swing from webs. And I was like, PB, I have a big obsession with Peter Parker with Spider-Man. I won't do it. And that was the only moment where I was like, and then I just grab Arrow and I'm swinging through New York. I had to resist, but a lot of resistance in the show.
Yeah. But what we could have done is that you saw a comic and then you went, oh shit, I could probably do that. And then you did it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Just all the ads for
It'd be honestly
Spider-Man.
absolutely hilarious if he was dressed entirely as Spider-Man, because they didn't realize that it wasn't just fashion.
Yeah.
Shows up in the full
Everybody
thing, and
recognizes
he's
me
just
for some
chill.
reason. They keep saying,
Yeah,
hey,
and everyone's
Spider-Man.
waving and
Like,
smiling.
is that the brand of shirt I'm wearing?
I think I'm a celebrity here.
Yeah.
Pictures.
None of us even bat an eyelid. We're just
Yeah,
like,
like,
we're
yeah,
weird
okay,
clothes
whatever.
here, and it's kind of strange.
Hey, can I take a selfie with you? What?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
sitting there in a Spider-Man outfit. I'm eating dog biscuits.
The whole time in New York was wild. It was
Oh my God.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think
So
it was
good.
like a good chance to bring some like jokes and levity. I think.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
another
Very good.
moment that was like insanely cool that I don't even think we were on screen for, was when PB revealed to us.
I wish
like,
you had been on screen when I told you.
Yeah,
Whoops.
I thought
Oh, well.
like you cut away and then you had like New York play and you were like, you're in New York now, and all of us went fucking
Yeah.
ballistic.
Ate
By
shit,
the way,
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
fucking
Almost thrilled,
crazy. And
Bro.
yeah, it's a shame that we don't have that. I don't think recorded.
Yeah,
or
no, we
whatever,
don't.
but,
I
that was a really good
had
moment.
that under
I
my
really
hat too, and would you believe it? I was nervous to follow through with that because I thought you guys
Yeah,
would
were
feel
you gonna
like it
do
was
that?
jumping the shark. I had always planned on
Yeah.
doing it,
We
but
were always going to New
yeah,
York. Okay.
well, I mean, it was a potential. If you did the thing, it was always what was going to happen, right? But I thought it could happen episode 5. I thought it could happen, whenever. But there came a point in the show where I went, we've done a significant portion of the show where it's, you guys are in Din and you're super into this, Din and these characters. And I'm like, do I do this now? Do I just jump the shark? What feels like jumping the shark for the players? Are they going to feel weird about it? But you guys, the moment I was like, you guys are in New York and you just fucking lost it, I was like, yeah, that was the right choice. It was so good.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
as
it
We
was
fuck.
freed the
really neat.
glutens, man.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
It was really,
I've
really
also
good.
been through Gone, so I don't think there's anything you can do that's not gonna
Yeah,
Make
that's
me
true.
go, we're what? We're
What?
here now?
Okay.
What the fuck?
Well.
I'm someone else now?
New
okay.
rulebook, let's go.
Yeah.
I was so relieved. I used to DM so many members of this cast going, okay, this is what this is. There's a river. Aru's a triplet. Are we in Gone? Blah, 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 blah. And then when we were in New York, I was like, oh, finally.
Finally, it's something I can Google, a Google map. The goo, which I now say now.
Goo.
Yeah, I do. I say goo it.
Why did I fucking say that?
I don't know, but it's perfect.
Oh my god, dude, it was so good.
I'm glad
There were
you
so
all did
many.
because I got to be Tim and be
Yeah.
like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
why? No, the goo. Don't ever say that in public.
Yeah.
I had one tiny little thing, and it's absolutely an Easter egg that I don't think anyone in chat caught. And PB knows what I'm saying now. Now that I mentioned that, somewhere in the show, actually twice. It was twice in the show, right? I think you did it 2 times, PB. There is a Theo Easter egg.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. Multiple times.
my
There
God.
is Theo's
At least twice.
voice where okay. Well, but
Or you,
they
if
don't
you
know.
want to go for it fully or
yeah,
not,
I'm going
go for
it fully. They don't because they don't know. They don't know. So go watch it. In Nocturne, there's a moment where Theo like looks up and says like, what was that? Did you guys hear that? But it's to no one. And I put it in Kingmakers as you guys are walking through the woods. Yeah, straight up. You guys are walking through the woods, and then
Okay.
Theo goes, "Wait, what? Did you hear that? Go find it." That was Theo, and he says the
I
same
think,
thing from
PB,
Nocturne. Yes.
PB,
was
respectfully,
like,
fuck you.
PB, was there like, I feel like at one point there was a Gone reference to like Dex in this show.
Was there?
No, I guess not.
No, I guess not.
Oh, also,
I have a
before we
nice
go-
thing to say. Oh,
I like to think that.
Anyway, because no one else is talking.
Fucking hell, dude. Like, how bad
Myrtles,
can you
this is the
be
reality
at
I felt
that?
last week. I'm so sorry.
How
That
bad?
is me by accident as well.
such a good meme. Keep doing it.
Why is it funny every
I didn't even do that
time?
on purpose. I swear. I think I realized about myself is that I'm really good and for some reason really enjoy like painful goodbye scenes because I think I felt the most joy playing Razov in Glacial when he was like he knew he was gonna die and was saying his like subtle goodbyes to everyone, and I really enjoyed that. I'm realizing that I just want to play characters that will die.
I'll remember that.
I just like to play characters that kill my friends. I got Leah. I got Murgles. Faye's up next.
Definitely thought
Am
one of you
I?
would
Oh,
be
yeah.
dead before the end of the game. I definitely was like,
I thought I was
this
gonna
system-
kill
Well, so
Yeah.
I was supposed to die, but then and I was dead. I was like, I'm dead, guys. This is it. This is the end. And then Aaron messaged me out of nowhere and was just like, do you want to be something? And I was like, what did he say? Hold on, I need to say it because it was perfect in my opinion.
Aaron is perfect in my opinion.
When
He
does
is
Razroth
perfect.
eat you, though?
When does Razroth eat?
Hey, I mean, is
that
Vegas cool
changes
with
things
it?
for me personally.
It does change things for me. Okay, hold on. So what did he say? He said something like, I have an idea, but of course it's you need to, say yes to this or whatever. And he said, do you want to be reborn? I will not do anything without your say so. And I said, it is not the choice of the born to be so. I trust you implicitly. And then I just let him do whatever. And so I didn't know exactly what was going to
I'm
happen.
sorry,
But then
what?
when he was like, when he was just like, he said, okay, I'm going to make you either a sun or a moon. And I was like, sun, because that is like the power that Lear works with. And that is like the
light.
whole thing there.
Oh my
yeah, it's the
God!
light. And so I was like, I want to be the light that can feed Lear's magic. I want to be the light that like grows Vega's plants. So that's what I wrote to him
And
about
also
it.
Vega
And
is
then
the
he,
sun and the constellation.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I
Holy
was just
shit.
like, okay, yeah, a sun, 100%. And so then I wasn't even sure that it was going to work out or what he was going to do. And then he just said it. And I was like, I guess I'm doing this. And like PB had no clue.
No clue.
Like,
None
PB
whatsoever.
was like, and I felt like, I was like, the only thing is that I know that PB, like everyone trusts Aaron implicitly. And I was like, whatever decision Aaron would make, I know that it would be the right decision. So I was like, okay, I'm down. But yeah, I was like fully committed to dying in the ep. And then, man, it was cool.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you
I just
actually
wanted to say.
Yeah, sorry. Please continue, Mercs.
No. Go.
Yeah, I just a couple of questions about the end there. You had approached me right before the finale and said that you wanted that end for Jude, right? Just so people don't think
Yeah.
I like tried to kill you on purpose. But
No, for sure.
we left it open either way of like, well, it could or could not happen. So when she says she was supposed to die, I think that was just what she was hoping for her character, but it wasn't ever anything set in stone.
I knew we talked about it and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to fight to live. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to fight Titus with the intention to live. But I know that Jude has some debts to pay
Yeah.
and it just makes sense to me. It just made a poetic sense to me for her to die. And then, all the roles worked out that way. So I was like, this is just it, guys. Like we're done, you know? Yeah. Anyway. I just want to say thank you. This show, just to end off on like what this show means to me. This show is like incredibly special to me and will be for the rest of my life. And I know that we're all bashful about saying these things, but it's truly been like a hallmark moment in my creative, aspirational life living experience on this planet. And I'm incredibly grateful to be here, and thank you all for allowing me to talk your ear off this entire time.
Thank you for throwing yourself down the stairs a couple days before the finale so that you could have
You're welcome. It was so,
Yeah.
I just knew it was going to slap so
Yeah.
hard to just come back with that full shiner.
Yep. Let's do a final round of shoutouts before I take over and answer some more questions from the chat and read you guys something. But yes, I'm going to let the cast go first. So, hey, you want to start?
Hi, I'm Phelan. I played Estrella. What a journey, man. Thank you guys so much for being along with us on this this crazy little thing. There are a lot of things that we wish we explored. There are a lot of things that, you know, we wish we could have put in, but there is just so much amazing content in this whole thing that I think that if you haven't fully watched it, go back and watch it. It's a really great show. All these people are amazing. I love you guys. I'm sad I'm not going to be with you all on Tuesdays anymore, but I know you're going to do great things. And yeah, I'm on Twitch and Twitter and stuff. Same name as in the description and what have you for this. So,
and a new show, right?
Yeah. Oh God. I was like, wait a sec.
Jesus Christ!
Did he
Dude, I was like,
there was
was
announcements.
it not?
Okay.
I was like,
It was announced.
Cast announcement. You're good.
soul left my body.
I know mine did too. I was like, wait. Fucking deer in headlights did. Was that released? yeah. Whoo. Okay, yeah. Dan and I are gonna be in a new show soon.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we get to know. So join the Discord. Join the Discord. I'm going to say it multiple times more, but yes. Thank you, Faye. Drac. Or no, wait. You
Yeah,
guys got to
hi.
pass it. You've done that every time. Sorry.
Drac.
Okay, me. It'll be me anyway. Well, I think we broke the streak of me going first every single time, so that's cool. But I'm Jack or Draconics. You can follow me on Twitter at Draconics. That's DRAKONIQES. I do a bunch of streaming and teach RPG stuff. The only thing I will shout out is that tomorrow, over on Captain Robear's channel, that's Captain and ROBEAR, we're going to be premiering the Pathfinder 2nd Edition campaign called Stormforge, and I'm playing the only non-spellcaster in the whole party, which is going to be fun.
Fear.
But yeah, check that out. I'm going to be playing a real himbo. I'm going for himbo energy with this character.
Yes.
So I don't have to
That
think,
changes
like,
something for me personally.
So yeah, I'm gonna turn my brain off now. Thank you, Brad. Take it away.
Yeah, this was a great show. I really, really enjoyed it. I know how difficult these things are to to put together. So you did really well, PB, and lots of cast members is a whole extra element of difficulty, and to have something so coherent and bulletproof, which is a show that is also works in another greater universe and in conjunction with other shows, is fucking impressive. It's so much harder than you could ever imagine. And I can only say this now because it's in the context of PB, but I think anyone that's ever GM'd a show, anything at this level of quality, from the conception in PB's mind and then gone through Nocturne and all these other elements, and then bringing it round to like close it off again, and have it just remain at such a constant level of incredible quality, really speaks to how good you are at this and how creative and excellent you are at GMing and producing and directing and everything, and that, you know, everyone did amazingly on this show, and I think every single person here role-played the fuck out of this show. There were moments in this show where I was like, what the fuck, how like, these people should be on TV, and I just sometimes I feel like I'm like I should not be here. Like, there is no way, like I can't act next to some of these people, but the whole thing was just so well made, from the top down. PB pulling it all together, and the lore and everything is insanely complex and insanely cool and interesting, all the way down to all of us little idiots role playing. On a personal level, it was just so interesting to play this kind of a character, and I won't go into it too much. And it was nice as well to let myself explore love in this character as well. Like, it was quite a weird place to be in when you're going through a breakup and then fall in love in roleplay, and then allow yourself to sit and think about what that would mean to this character and let yourself explore love in this kind of a setting and this show. So it was really a really interesting journey on so many levels, and I think the whole thing is fucking impressive, and everyone did really well. Thank you everybody who watched it as well. I hope that we did it justice for you, PB, and for everyone watching. I loved it. Love is a ring. That's it from me. Let's pass it over to Leah before she falls over.
Everything's fine. It's a good job it ended last week because I had the worst COVID and I've not recovered since. But I don't really have anything new to say. It was an absolute privilege to be a part of a show like this and a PB show in general. Like, one of the things I wanted to talk about was how it's so hard to improv on the level that you see on like the shows like Gone and everything, and to have gone into that and watched that and be like, okay, now we have to do that, like, is horrifying. It's so scary, but it's so challenging, and that's what makes it such a fucking joy to do. And for PB to create essentially a sandbox, an entire playground, and guide you in doing that and in discovering all those things about the skills you have and the people you're with is phenomenal. So yeah, thank you so much to the cast as well. You're all fucking incredible. Like, it was a genuine pleasure every week. You were all superstars. But yeah, I have played Vega, and my name is Leah, Leah. It's 4 letters. Easy, nice, cool. All right, Maya.
Hi, my name is Meyer, and I guess I kind of blanked out during the whole goodbyes, because this is a last episode of Kingmakers. I mean, what can I say? It's been a journey, a voyage, and I have loved every single moment of it. I have loved the anticipation of every single episode. I have loved the on-the-fly just imagination that everybody has and everybody has put down in their own way. It's been so cool to be challenged by all of you in your different ways, and I love you guys. You guys are amazing. This isn't the end, obviously. It's just the beginning of yet something else, something new, something different. And I cannot wait to see what it is you guys all do. You know, 100%. Also, without repeating anything else and without keeping this thing too long, I'm Meyer. I played Lear, but my name is Meyer. That's 4 letters, M-Y-R-E, pretty simple. And I guess the next one is Murgles.
I am Murgles. No?
I was gonna do the exact same thing.
Thank you so much.
I needed that. That was hurting.
Symmetry. I'm so glad. I like to think that I'm Murgles and that I played Jude for you on this show. I've talked so much this Q&A already. I feel like I've rambled endlessly, despite interruptions. So I will also try to keep it short. This is the best. I say it every week. I say it all the time, but it just continues to be needed to be said. You can find me on Table Story on Thursdays for Ashes of Eriador. And that's really, that's it. Thank you for having me. This is the absolute best. And I love you all. Thank you so much.
Murgles, you didn't pass it on to anyone.
Drac. Yo, you already went.
Already went.
Faye already went. Johnny. We were doing this whole
blackout. I think it was just Leah.
Is that what we're doing? We're fading out. Okay, cool.
I didn't get me, so thanks, y'all. What the fuck? Brad,
don't
leave me.
PB.
I like.
I'm sorry, PB.
What?
I like to think, it's the end. It's the beginning. So sorry.
Past is the future. I like to think that I played Titus for you guys on Kingmakers. If you want to see me be other characters, you can find me on my channel and other places. PB, thank you for sharing your genius with us. It was truly an honor, and I will cherish this. To the rest of the cast, thank you guys for providing a space where I felt I could be myself and have fun telling the story with you guys. Love y'all.
Dan, you and me.
It's us too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mystic Dan. I think you all know me at this point. It was lovely being able to play out my fantasy of being Bob from Dresden Files.
I wanted that so badly from the very beginning, and
it
I'm
happened.
so glad it worked out.
Yup.
And I'm glad it was you. Can I say that? And can I say something stupid that I didn't realize?
Do it.
But somebody
go for
mentioned it. You've been in every single thing I've ever done.
I was about to say that, rule of threes. I got to be here for the beginning and the end, which was really cool. So thank you, PB, for involving me in this wonderful trilogy.
Jack, Estrella connection.
And that's where it started.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. It's been a journey, and I'm excited to see what you do next. So thanks for having me, and I'll see y'all on the other side, I think.
Okay. Was not expecting that. Gonna shout out Aaron, who had to step away for a bit. Also gonna shout out John Sandman, Cord, Trenchmouth, and Grenig. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but I'm sure I am. But those people were also in the show, voices that you heard, characters that you saw towards the end. We're not quite done yet. I'm not quite done yet. We're going to let the cast depart now. I'm going to read you guys some lore bits. I'm going to answer any final questions that you have. And then the thing that I can say is please follow the Discord if you want to keep an eye on the system when it comes out, the Other World of Din. Fudge has made an album version of the music for Kingmakers, so keep your eyes in the Discord for that, because it's very good. Because he made basically underscores for me that I could loop forever, but he went and he made an album version for you. So that will be something that we're releasing as well. And now, I'm going to read you some stuff. So cast, if you're still here, you don't have to. You can go ahead and dip if you like. Thank you so much for... Oh, nope, because I have a thing I have to read. Thank you. I love you. And I know this isn't the end of the stuff that we do together. So, okay, those things. Now, I want to read you guys something. Hold on. Where's my bolt? This has got to stop because it's going to kill me. Awesome. Cool. Are we ready? Because I hope so. Okay, are you ready? this what I want? This'll do. This'll do. Okay. 1/3 of Brad's insane requested lore dump that will end our friendship. How do I preface this? I don't think I can, really. All right? Basically, Brad came to me at one point and said, "PB, I need to understand I need lore. I need to understand how the world works if I'm to play this person who knows everything." And I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean you need to know how magic works?" And he's like, "The fundamentals. I need to know the fundamentals of how magic works in this fucking system of yours or this world of yours." And I was like, "I don't think you understand what you're asking." And he's like, "I need this. This is what I want." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess I will write the fundamentals. Here are the fundamentals of how magic works in the other world of Din." I apologize. This is I literally wrote this for Brad. I expected no one else to read it. All right? There's a list of like top major mysteries of physics. They are 1, dark energy, 2, dark matter, 3, time's arrow, 4, parallel universes, 5, the fate of the universe, 6, quantum entanglement, and 7, entropy and chaos. This is how this begins. 1, dark energy. We think we know these things. 1, gravity pulls things towards itself. 2, a black hole has an extreme force of gravity that pulls everything toward it. 3, we're pretty sure there's a black hole at the center of the universe. We're confused as to why, if all of the above are true, the universe is expanding away from the pull of gravity, especially because principle number 5 that we know is gravity is limitless in its reach, apparently. That's number 5. One of the most popular and widely accepted theories is that dark energy is just an inherent property of space itself. It has negative pressure. Just by being space, it makes holes in itself, pushing things away from it. But remember, we don't know what dark energy is. We know it makes up 70% of the total content of the universe. I think that's changed now. I think it's 80%. But when I wrote this, I think it was 70. But we can't see it, and we don't know how to look for it. Only to see the reactions of what it is affecting, and that it is responsible for the accelerated expansion of the universe somehow. Is it possible this is another universe? Or more than one? If entropy only increases, then the more energy is produced in all of these universes, the longer the universes exist, and the more of them are created, then the faster the end of the universe approaches. In theory. 2, dark matter. Dark matter makes up about 27%. To put it in perspective, everything we have ever observed with all of our instruments, all normal matter, makes up less than 5%. The most popular theory at the moment is that dark matter doesn't reflect or emit light that we can see or detect because it doesn't appear to interact with the electromagnetic field. There's a new theory that I like a lot, but it's not my favorite. I don't know what the fuck I was talking... remember, I'm talking to Brad here, okay? There's a new theory that I like a lot, but it's not my favorite. But it's that dark matter forms streams, like finely... Oh, now I know why I told him that, right? Because of Final Fantasy VII. Like finely grained streams or hair. The Earth might even have these emitting from it. The new discovery that black holes are leaking data out of them instead of just sucking everything in supports this, I think. 3, why is time an arrow? If time is a dimension like left or right or up or down, why can't we go left or right through time? Why are we only going in one direction? We don't know. 4, parallel universes. This is the idea that every time a decision is made, everything but that one quantum particle is the same. And that happens many times, infinitely. From that decision, the changes ripple outward until it branches again with another choice. Astrophysicists, upon crunching numbers, etc., think the universe might be flat, and that it goes on forever. And so our universe is just one patch in a large multiverse quilt. This is not the case in Kingmakers, but we'll get to that. 5, the fate of the universe. Depending on how the universe is shaped, since we don't know, if you're curious, there's a math variable that we know exists, but we don't know what it is. Similarly to dark matter or energy, let's call this a variable M for mystery. We know it's in the formula, but we don't know what the number represents. We think M is the density, or all matter in the universe. So if M is greater than 1, the formula math tells us that the universe is a sphere. I hope you guys followed that. It could be closed like a sphere. Therefore, if there was no dark energy, that universe would eventually stop expanding and start contracting, eventually collapsing in on itself, aka the theory that exists called the Big Crunch. The universe breathes in and out motion, and time would actually flow backward during that contraction. So if the universe is shaped like a U, M would be greater than 1. Wait, yes, M greater than 1 also. Then what's going to happen is that as entropy maxes out, work, and I'm using air quotes for those listening like a podcast, work basically equalizes at sub-zero Kelvin. It's called the Big Freeze. So basically time stops because there's just no work left available to do things. And then I put in parentheses, work is what physics call the actual energy cost of one thing changing or moving. Work is the force that causes the movement. What a stupid thing to call it. But if I understand it correctly, if you think of it like air or another fluid, it needs a place of high work pressure, like a starting point, and a place of low work pressure, the point of the thing being moved. And in the big freeze of the universe, all work stops because the work pressure is equalized and can't flow from high to low. So nothing can be pushed or moved, and time stops, everything stops. Alternatively, if the universe was a pool table, the work is both the cue stick and the ball you're hitting, and the object being moved is the ball you're aiming at. And at the end of the universe, according to the Big Freeze, you can't move any balls by hitting them because the whole surface of the pool table is full of balls. Nowhere for the cue stick to fit, nowhere for the balls to go. Cool. And the fun thing about that is that after it freezes and time stops, the acceleration of the universe would just tear everything apart. So it would freeze and then explode, aka another theory called the Big Rip. And the last one is that the universe is flat again, the multiverse quilt. This would be in the math formula m equals 1, in case you were wondering. And the theory there is that it would just expand forever, continuing outward but continuously slowing down until it reaches a standstill. Eventually, the dark energy would push it so far apart that it would eventually explode. Pretty much everyone agrees the universe is dying, but we're not sure how or why. Mystery number 6, quantum entanglement. One particle can affect another particle if it is quantumly entangled with it. We knock particle A over, and observed particle B fell over for no apparent reason. This information exchange can happen universes apart. So to clarify, it's not actually like you knock something over and then the other thing is knocked over. It's more of an information exchange. So, but for science fiction, it's fun to kind of extrapolate and expand on that. Divination magic. Is it limited to the same universe? Could you be divining information from another universe? Einstein calls this spooky action from a distance, and I think Blackbird might at some point as well, as a fun nod. Mystery number 7, entropy. Why is there order in chaos? Why is entropy constantly increasing? Why are we moving toward chaos? Why were things so ordered to begin with? Now that we've briefly covered these unsolved mysteries and our understanding of the universe, I posit that the universe is torus-shaped, like a donut, and dark energy is the quantum particles created by parallel universes. In this theory, M could be greater than 1, also less than 1, and also equal 1. All can be true at the same time. Or possibly it doesn't even matter, because donut shape is sphere, saddle, and flat all together. I literally then have a fucking diagram like a psychopath. Why is he so friends with me? I don't know. So it's less a donut and more an inflatable tire because it's hollow and the universe is both inside and wrapped on the surface. Possibly the inside surface, possibly the outside surface. You guys are going to have to imagine this. I'm so sorry. So in the sphere, but really donut universe, it would look and act to math like a sphere while the outside of the tire expands. I'm going to repeat this because this is nuts. Okay? So imagine do I have anything that will not handy? Oh my God. Moogle. Okay. All right. So imagine a sphere, right? So we've got the outside of the sphere, but also the universe could be shaped like a U, right? If it's only, like the top bit, it could be a U, right? But it also could be a plane if you're on the plane, because you're not going to notice the curve, just like we are on Earth. We think it's flat, but it's not, right? Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, it's less a donut and more an inflatable tire because it's hollow in the middle. The universe is both inside of it and wrapped on the surface. Possibly inside the surface, possibly outside the surface. So the sphere, but really donut universe, would look and act to math like a sphere while it's expanding. Okay, until you get a fat donut that can't expand anymore. And that goes back to like the Big Rip and shit. Okay, anyway, back to the mysteries of the universe and how they're solved by the donut-shaped multiverse theory in Kingmakers. We'll get to the fat tire donut later. 1, dark energy, and 2, dark matter. So instead of the parallel universe being patches in a flat quilt, which is Marvel universe that uses this theory, the flat quilt multiverse patch quilt theory. That's what they do in Marvel, if you're familiar with Marvel stuff. Or stacked on top of each other, but overlapping. What if they are the dark energy that we can't see? And as time goes on, more and more universes are created every time a quantum entanglement occurs, aka decision or a diverging choice. And that's what's pushing everything apart, literally. They are why the universe is expanding. Every decision we make, literally and figuratively. This would explain what dark energy, what dark matter is, and why we can't see it. Not because it doesn't emit or absorb light, but because we're looking at it from the edge, or from the edge on. If we could see it, it would just look like a line. I hope this makes sense, LOL. 3, time is an arrow. This also explains why we perceive time one way, because now time is a dimension on that torus that is extremely affected by gravity. Time is only moving in one direction because it's all getting sucked into the inside of the torus donut. We're all affected by gravity, its reach, and its pull is limitless and endless, right? So we just see the effects on such a minute scale that it's barely observable. But we know galaxies are moving, that the universe is expanding. It could also be true that the universe is expanding and contracting, breathing, but it just doesn't go back the way that it came when it contracts. It goes on the underside of the donut. We would still perceive time as linear in an arrow, but it's actually going backwards. Now, what if the contracting and expanding are happening simultaneously? Oh my fucking god! The life flash before my eyes when you die is actually you glimpsing the underside of the donut. Why didn't I cut this out? Brad, did you read this whole thing? 5, fate of the universe, and 7, entropy. In this theory, the fate of the universe is all of them and none of them. The sphere will expand outward until fat tire donut, where the donut's hole can't move into itself. At this point, the outside of the sphere would keep going out, being pushed out by more choices, aka quantum entangled data points, birthing more realities and more dark matter or energy. The tire is being inflated, suddenly so much faster, because the inside is not moving. So for those that perceive reality as a flat plane, the plane options rely on how fast alternate universes are created by the diverging choices, creating new dark matter and energy. So the dark energy universes are pushing the outer edges of the plane out, but at the same time, the tire is expanding, right? So if the plane grows faster, it will eventually wrap around the tire and go under the donut, forming an inverse U. It will expand indefinitely until the outside rips open or the inside becomes so dense it starts pulling the outside back in. That explains both the big rip and the contraction theories. Or the plane could loop around and go under the top of the donut again. The plane universe could swing around the center on repeat, but it would still lose speed every loop until it can't pass the gravity of the center, and thus explains the big freeze. 6, quantum entanglement. At the smallest fundamental particle level, a particle can be anywhere and anywhen until it is observed and the waveform collapses. If that's true, and the basic elementary particles can be anywhere and anywhen, why is anything solid? The answer to that is the other particles observe each other. The more of them that are together, the more they have to follow the rules. They literally police each other. And that is how the laws of reality spring about spontaneously when we get too many of them together. And I wonder if this is just a gradual sliding scale, or is there an event horizon where you finally reach this many particles and suddenly it switches on? Like, or perhaps we're being observed. Is this where simulation theory is born? The conclusion and that's just the idea that lots of people feel like, we're living in a simulation or we're being watched or being observed. What if we are being observed? And that's why our reality is solid. What the fuck? The conclusion we draw from this is that any particle that is not currently being observed can do whatever the fuck it wants, as long as it's isolated and not being observed. Could chat equal dark matter? Or are they the observing effect? How do we even know dark matter is there? Because we can see the effect it has on the matter around it. So Urafir and Jude can't perceive the audience, but they could theoretically perceive the effect chat or the GM, even rolling, has created. Random example. The premiere When viewer numbers are highest, the rolls were the worst. I'm not saying this is the case, but there were so many examples of this that could be used and make fun for science fiction fodder. This also means any magic Eurofear does off-screen could be weaker or stronger because it's without the observer effect. The big holy fuck of this theory is, if the universe is torus-shaped, dark matter and energy are parallel universes, quantum entangled particles are overlapping each other and pushing each other apart, how do we prove it? We can't. Because the moment we prove it, we're observing it, and the waveform collapses. The moment the waveform collapses, m equals 1, or m equals less than 1, or m equals greater than 1. One of those things becomes true, and now we're stuck with that being true. All the other particles will now police each other. So, in theory, when scientists are like, oh no, the Earth, the universe is a flat line quilt, we've done mathematics that show us this. They've observed it, and now the reality is like that. And then we've got another reality where they're like, no, it's a U-shape. Now it's a U-shape, right? That's the implication there with that idea, which is super cool. Weird ramblings and analogies you probably don't need to read, but I'm including anyway. Conscious universe. Oh my god, Biz Cotto. I forgot Biz. Remember when I was like, I'm sure I'm forgetting someone? Biz, the first person I asked. Okay, sorry. Biz Cotto, please. I love him so much. And he did everything for me that I asked him to do and more. Okay, anyway, sorry. Weird ramblings and analogies you probably don't need to read, but I'm including anyway. Conscious universe. So it's like the universe is playing that child's game, red light, green light, and we're facing the other way, trying to make calculations based on the shadow that we see on the wall in front of us, cast by the universe behind us. The calculations say one thing or multiple things. It doesn't matter, but we get frustrated and turn around to get proof, and the universe freezes in place because we're looking. We can take as many measurements as we want and be triumphant that we now have proof that the universe is standing on one leg in a T-pose. So we turn back around, start calculations on the shadows again, knowing that the calculations will work if we account for the universe standing on one leg in a T-pose. But for some reason, the calculations based on the shadow of the universe one-leg T-pose don't work, and we don't know why. Well, that's because now that we're not looking again, the universe could be doing a handstand. The other point is that the dark energy, the decisions that cause quantum entangled universes to be created, the quilts pushing fabric away from themselves, they're formed when a decision is made, right? Well, when any decision is made, really, aka when a waveform collapses. Which means what? If they aren't being watched, then they have no reason to be fixed in place. Right? If they aren't being watched, they have no reason to be fixed in place. But they are fixed because reality exists. But we've been observed, and now when you turn away, when you aren't looking at it anymore, all the particles will police each other to stay that way. So what is watching them? Could it be other universes? Other data points? What if, when you are imagining what would have happened to you if you had done X or Y, you're not imagining, you're catching a glimpse, you're observing another reality and collapsing that waveform. So early on in the universe, before dark energy reached the event horizon, your choices may have been more in flux because other realities' choices or quantumly entangled particles were so far apart, but they reached a population point where they're constantly observing their peers. Honestly, you could argue that this was the point at which reality was formed and not a moment before. The moment is when the universe became aware of itself, and that's what reality is, a conscious universe watching itself. Parallel universes aren't next to or on top of each other, but overlapping, which is what we're playing with in Kingmakers, where one will leak into the other. You know, the Mandela effect, the Berenstain Bears. This reminds me of the shitty superheroes where someone could turn invisible, but only when nobody was looking at them. I wish I had gone through this before I started to read it to you guys. The theory of Garoon. We're all falling through time in one direction. We can't even look behind us. We can only remember what we passed. That's important. We can't look behind us. We can only remember what we passed. Garoon has learned to look back. And then she learned to look forward and left and right, and then learned to fly. In Stygian and Nocturne, there are 2 Garoons. Well, originally infinite, but we'll get there. One in charge of the Rangers of One, and one in charge of the Rangers of Many. This theory means if they can look back, they can observe each other and collapse the waveform, eventually leaving only 1 Garoon. But right now, there are 2 fighting against each other, but trying oh so careful not to directly observe each other. They can only survive by hiding from each other. Perhaps they are willingly at an impasse of sorts, because otherwise they both die. To see is to be seen. Earfear could potentially mirror this, and that would be dope. These are just notes I sent to Brad. Jesus God. Rangers of Many basically want to leave the universe alone. Who's to say it's actually dying? We don't know what's going to happen at the big freeze. It's the natural order of things, so we're going to leave it. If it's a breath, we could just be waiting for the next inhale after the exhale. Rangers of One basically want to trim the fat of the timelines that are similar enough that it doesn't matter, and I am using air quotes for these, if they are culled. This removes dark matter and dark energy and slows the death of the universe. They don't want simply one universe or one reality to rule them all. Their main theory is trimming the fat to slow the heat death of the universe until they can figure something out. In Nocturne and Stygian, the lore was that to become a ranger, you had to hunt down another version of yourself and kill it, the quantumly entangled part. Or a group shaped like you, destroying it so that it can no longer affect you and so that they stop pushing you apart. Now, this is talking about the fucking molecular level. The more of you there are, the more of you overlap the U-shape in the universe, and the more of you is pushing outward. So the more of you there are, the more you are contributing to entropy and the death of the universe. If the Garoon of Many does this as well, she's either a hypocrite or she's the shepherd of the quantum entangled parts that the Rangers of One are hunting down. Super interesting overlap of determinism and fate here, because Rangers of Many basically have no choice, because they are being directly affected by their quantum entangled other half, which is actually trying to destroy them. I like the idea that Garoon of One will probably seem villainous and evil, but is potentially actually preventing the death of the universe. And the Garoon of Many, who shelters the Rangers hunted down by Garoon of One, is kind of like an anti-vaxxer Garoon, directly contributing to the death of the universe, but will probably be seen as a good guy by the audience. This is just notes that you guys get because it's the end. How do you get to fairyland? There's a lot of literature on reaching other dimensional, fictional fantasy places, Narnia, Neverland, Fairyland, etc. And they all follow this weird, do this random movement and then you're there formula. Go around this rock 3 times and suddenly you're there. First star on the left, first star on the right, straight on to morning. What is actually happening is you're walking up a dimensional fucking staircase that can't be perceived. So to us, it looks like you're just walking around a rock 3 times. Wow, could have written anything else, peeps. But when you come out of the staircase, you're on the dimensional 3rd floor and everything is different. And when somebody's standing on a landing looking down at those who can't even see the staircase, we can't perceive up and down. All that someone can do is be heard. This is Garoon. She can perceive all the directions, but the characters cannot yet. So all they can ever perceive is her voice, which is why I was off cam. Peekaboo, a mage's rant? We think babies don't understand the world. Is it not more correct to say that they have forgotten when they reach adulthood? It takes a mere 3 months for us to lose our understanding of quantum mechanics, and a lifetime or more to try to understand it again. An infant watching you take a pee from under a blue cup and move it under a red cup may still look for the pee under the blue cup. Ah, how foolish they are, the adult laughs. The babe watched you move the pee and still looked under the blue cup. But the babe knows that the pee, once it's under the cup, now that it's not observed, that pee could be anywhere, anywhen. It's the adults who don't understand. Once a baby reaches 3 months and plays peekaboo for the first time, watching with anticipation as a face is hidden, knowing is unseen, yet still there, knowing it will be revealed again, understanding object permanence. This is seen as an achievement. But the indescribable loss this truly is, as we strive to master what babies before 3 months intuitively grasp, quantum entanglement. Uncertainty principle. 3 months to understand how reality works, that a thing unseen still exists in that place. Object permanence. This lingers throughout childhood, of course. Any child knows that a monster can't find you if it cannot see you hidden under the blanket. That once you're unobserved by the monster, you could be anywhere. But any adult knows this is patently ridiculous. Of course you're still under the blanket, and of course monsters don't exist, right? Again, a lifetime to unlearn the lie. And that is why you may not watch me cast my magic. Magic is shy, you see. It is limitless only while unobserved, and yet, even alone, your spell still acts as if it's observed. What unseen audience watches you cast your spell? Remember, you can't see it, but you can still see the shape that it's making. The monster knows the child is there even if he can't see it because the shape it's leaving with the blanket. I don't know why Brad's still friends with me. It's 12 pages long. He asked me for a fucking how does magic work, and I sent him theories of universes, okay? My God. Oh my God. Listen. I don't know if, Biz, are you still here? Reading Theory of Magic and just shouted Biz! I had to watch videos about quantum physics too. Ah, God, I woke up while listening to this and my mind is blown. Yeah, so anyway, that was it. That's what I wanted to read to you guys. If you observe Biz, he will be here. Oh my God, I feel so bad. Yeah, object permanence. Obscurance as a rogue fear. You can't see me, so you no longer know where I am. Yeah, quantum mechanics is magic. Quantum mechanics makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, absolutely. Can you clarify? So the Rangers of One want few universes of similarity. Yes. So basically, like, if you've got, think of it like a tree, right? So you've got so many different branches on the tree. They don't want just one tree trunk, right? What they're trying to do is basically, you've got a branch that has a bunch of little things on it that come out, and they're like, this reality is literally the same. It's just one thing happened differently. Somebody spilled their coffee, because it's hard for us to conceptualize. If this theory is correct, it's infinite, right? There's just so many universes where, you forgot your car keys that day. Nothing else changes. You're just a couple minutes late, but then everything blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, there's that. So they just want to trim the ones that are close so that it's, that it slows the death of the universe until they can figure out a better solution. But yeah. Anyway. That was it. And I'm going to go jump off my balcony because I forgot Bizcato, the first person to record anything for me ever. He did the voice of the old man throughout the entire thing until Aaron showed up. Best monologue ever. Non-divergent timeline. The group of universes all have the same daily conclusion. Yeah, exactly. So it's not really the Garoon of one, but the Garoon of like just a few. But that doesn't sound as cool as the Garoon of many and the Garoon of one. Okay, God. Anyway, I can't believe I forgot Biz. He's gonna kill me. He's not even here anymore. Biz, I love you. I'm sorry. Thank you for being my old man. Oh. Anyway. This is really just PB advocating for the Garoon of just a few. No, I wrote this ages ago. Yes, this is perfect. So this is how I'm gonna end it. Can you describe the next show you hope to run in one word? I definitely can. Blade Runner. Thank you guys for watching all my shit. I really appreciate it. I love you very much. Follow or join the Discord for updates on the system. I'm going to continue working on it on Tuesdays, and I'm trying really hard not to cry. We're going to raid somebody right now. Oh, I know exactly where we're going. We're going to go say hi to Elspeth, okay? All right, I love your faces and your butts. You guys are the best, and I'll see you for the next thing.